Okay, we should be live. Should be live. Apologies for the delay there. I will explain why in a bit. I've got the worst excuse ever. Anyone on? Yep, I'm on. How's it going, Reverse Lee? Good to see you. Finally, how many groypers you deal with? Do you know I've not dealt with any groypers at all? Probably since the last time I even mentioned groypers, I've not spoke to any or dealt with any. Yeah. But yeah, the reason why I'm delayed with the stream is because I had my dinner and I intended to do the stream right after I finished my dinner. But then I realized I'd forgot something from the shop, so I went to get it. And then as soon as I came back, I fell asleep. So yeah, for whatever reason, I was like, I'll just shut my eyes for a minute, and then I fell asleep and ended up. I only woke up because she came back and woke me up. So yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, as always, if anybody could let me know if the audio is okay. Obviously, we need to get that sorted first and foremost, and then we can continue. Yeah, that's me in the picture. Yeah, as you can clearly see. Yeah, you knew I was a black woman who wore a hijab. You know, I bet you're shocked about that. Hey, I bet you never. No, I bet that's exactly what you expected. You expected me to look like Gavastai, or whatever you call him, the Slode. I forgot his name. But what did I eat? I had just some. I had about like 6 rashers of bacon and 3 pancakes straight out of packet. So it was a very quick meal to prepare. It was nothing particularly good, and I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest. And yeah, I couldn't sleep until about 5:30 in the morning, and then for whatever reason, I fell back to sleep this afternoon about like about 4:30 or whatever before I was supposed to be getting ready for the stream. Should have seen the last one. Sorry, the last one, like the criteria must be the opposite of what you expect of a health person. No, but I honestly think that they do that intentionally. I think that the government in the West, when they appoint quote unquote health ministers, because what does a health minister even mean? Like, what even is that? What does a health minister actually do? I don't think anybody really knows. I don't think it's a real job. I think it's just kind of a thing where they do it to create backlash and to create memes and things like that. Because, like when they did it in America, where it was like that big fat tranny, it was like some morbidly obese guy in his 50s dressed as a woman, wearing a wig and everything. Obviously, the guy eats like a pig and doesn't have any good nutrition. He's obviously chemically imbalanced. And it was obvious that people were going to notice that. But I feel like the government just appoint these people to try and generate controversy, to generate news stories and wind people up and stuff like that. It's a load of rubbish. And again, they're doing it in Wales as well. They hire someone who literally looks like Gavastai, you know, sort of a cross between Gavastai and Jabba the Hutt to represent, and they make it a Muslim just to kind of increase the absurdity of it a little bit. That's somebody who celebrates Ramadan and does fasting the traditional way. They do that just to wind people up, in my opinion, and troll them. Like, I honestly think that's all it is. I think that's what a quote unquote health secretary is. It's literally a meme job. It's somebody who's appointed to be a professional meme, you know? It's like when they appoint a comedian who doesn't tell jokes. Um, she reminded you about the stream. She cares about the fans. Yeah, the fans. Doing it for the fans. Audio good? Awesome. I like to hear it. 1 month into scamming the welfare system. Yeah, exactly. But again, it's a fake job, innit? That's all it is. It's like being a video game QA tester. You know how like modern day video games come out and there's like 25 QA testers, and it's like the game comes out and it's in such a broken state that it's barely playable. So you think to yourself, hang on a second, games used to have like 3 or 4 QA testers back in the day and they always worked. How can you have 25 QA testers and the game doesn't even work? It's because it's not even a real job. It's like literally people just on there, on the books, claiming some sort of tax scam. It has to be. Like so many jobs are like that. So many government jobs are like that in particular. You know, it's a no-show job. Government loves no-show jobs. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a job where you're on the books, you get paid, you get certain benefits, and you bring along with you certain benefits, but you don't actually contribute anything. It's that kind of job. Because again, she's not a doctor, is she? Well, I wouldn't have thought so anyway. She's not, people aren't going to her for a consultation. They're not going to her for health advice, are they? Because what health advice are you going to get off of her? Stuff your face with chapatis and naan bread until you explode. Is that is that her idea of health advice? I mean, it must be, because clearly that thing doesn't have a balanced diet and isn't in pretty good health. Hello, audio's good. Good to hear that. Figueroa totally broke the hearts of the Liverpoolian fans last Saturday. Do you know, I was tempted to put a bet on that fight because there was good odds on Figueroa and he had a big size advantage, but I just felt that Ball had the kind of toughness and the stamina to where he would have been able to get through it, and he would have been able to maybe get the decision if it were close. But yeah, kind of a missed opportunity there. If you ask me, shut up, phone. Honestly, sick of my phone. People keep bothering me. But yeah, what was I saying? It was a good little upset win, but it wasn't like a big shock to me. I always thought Figueroa had a good chance in that fight. I just favoured Ball slightly due to the location and due to him being on a bit of a roll lately. So I didn't bother placing a bet. Oh, the scumbag boomers were warned about the apostasy of the church and they allowed it. Thanks, boomers. Yeah, they not only allowed it, they facilitated it. It was them that turned their backs on the church and turned everybody away from it. You know, what more can I really say about that, to be honest? Boomers ruined everything, and it's never going to be back the way it was until they're all dead and buried. Ball's corner started kicking Figueroa's corner for yeah, I heard about that. I'm not sure why. It just seems like they were sore losers to me. Typical Scousers, eh? Yeah. Make people fight the Muslims by employing that woman. It must be a troll. Yeah, exactly. It is a troll. Like, it's just winding people up. It's exactly what they did with the trannies in America. Again, you create a fake job, health secretary, whatever that means, and then you hire a whole bunch of like each time that position gets fulfilled, you hire someone who's literally a meme, like a ridiculous type figure, just to wind people up and create a bunch of controversy. That's clearly what they did with that. You know, God Logic, the Christian troll legend, took over the Dawa show. He did. I saw that. Um, he did Christian Dawa preaching the gospel. Yeah, yeah, he did as well. And that guy, what's his face? Sheikh Uthman Ibn Farouk, the guy who says he wants or who initially said that he wants people killed um, for converting to Christianity and all that, but then ran back on it. But he says something different depending on who he's talking to. If he's talking to an audience of Muslims, he's like, take over the world, kill the Christians, kill the enemies of Islam. But if he's talking to a Christian or an atheist or like just an agnostic or whatever, he's like, oh no, Islam is a religion of peace. We want to live at peace with the world and preach preach unity. Like, he just says something completely different depending on who he's talking to. But God Logic was able to expose him big time. And God Logic is one of these guys who has like a encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible. So you can't really, and he understands Islamic scripture too. So you can't really get one over on him. Maybe she got a thyroid issue, a legroid issue, a double chinoid issue. Yeah. She's got double chinnitis. She's got fat bastard syndrome. Yeah, maybe she's got Prader-Willi syndrome or something. You never know. Piers wants to put her on Piers Uncensored. What, the health secretary? Do you know he should go ahead and do that? That'd be funny. But again, who's even gonna take Piers seriously anymore after that last debacle with let me not even get into that because that last stream got demonetized for me bringing that up, you know? I got demonetized for roasting Piers Morgan. I did. Um, what's wrong with this keypad? Alright. Yeah, God bless Fenotke, a living legend. Good to see you. In the pub, spat out my beer at the Welsh MP. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. Piers' wife prayed to the devil. He was in hospital for some reason. Other groypers did it. It could just be that Piers is a fat ass and needs to be careful where he walks, isn't it? I think that's a lot more logical, you know. She's pretty shit, yeah. She looks like a turd, doesn't she? She kind of looks like Mr. Potato Head a little bit. But like if he was wrapped up like a jacket potato or something. Mr. Potato Head in a hijab. Yeah, Scousers are the ghetto trash of the UK, always the victims. Yeah, it's never their fault, is it? It's never their fault, the Scousers. It's always the police. It's always the other team's fans. It's always anybody but the Scousers. I'm not gonna buy the Sun. I'll never buy the Sun. Like, shut up. Yeah, Scousers are literally like the lowest IQ degenerates of the UK. They're all cokeheads as well. The amount of cokeheads in Liverpool is crazy, and they're all leftists as well. And so many of them have got AIDS. You know, God Logic, the legend, took over the Taoist all. Yeah, I already read that, didn't I? Some of Gen Z wished for the situation that boomers had. Yeah. Well, everybody would wish for an economic boom, wouldn't they? Everybody would wish for a society like what we had in the 1950s. It was perfect compared to what we have now. But that'll never happen. You just need to adjust to what you've got now, you know. Is what it is. Before Ball lost, commentators spoke of 6 UK world champ. Is there 6 UK world champs right now? Um, I don't know. I'll need to look that up actually. Did you see Deontay Wilder getting mugged off by Simon Jordan? I did not see that, no. But I would never sit and listen to Simon Jordan for any reason, so I wouldn't have thought. Or did Jazza Dickens win a title? I know Jazza Dickens was due to fight soon. Did he actually win? But yeah, he was fighting for some version of a title, wasn't he? Yeah, the groin. Wilder just a brain damaged race baiter. Oh yeah, Wilder's been buck broken. Like those beatings against Fury, the schooling he got against Parker, and then that devastating knockout against Zhang, they've fried Wilder's brain. Not that there was much of a brain there to begin with, but I don't know, like the 2 brain cells he had left were smashed in those fights. So yeah, he's probably got severe CTE. Then again, he's probably had CTE, I'd say, since the Lewis Ortiz fight or something, because he's been talking crazy stuff, like wanting to be pregnant and that ever since then. So yeah. All right. Christianity is free in Islam's head, and the guy should be jailed. The Muslims think their religion and societies cannot be ruined like Christianity. They're super wrong. Yeah. Well, Islam is just a subversion. It survives through subjugation, deception, and fear. That's how Islam survives. But it won't survive in an age of knowledge when people learn the truth of it. When people can actually read their scriptures rather than have a distorted, brainwashing speech given to them by their local imam or dawah you know. I don't care. I don't know how anyone takes the Groypers seriously. Most of them are mystery meat mongrels who just hate Jews, yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are just Zoomers who have just caught onto the quote unquote J pill and are blaming the Jays for all their problems. That's what a lot of them are. But a lot of them don't have any solutions to anything. I suspect a lot of them are really Arabs. I strongly wonder as to whether most of them are even human or whether they're just some sort of organized spam bot farm. You know, it doesn't surprise me. I don't hate the Groypers. I just think they're weird and all rhetoric, no action. Yeah, I agree. Groypers are deranged nonsense. Wilder is more privileged than anyone. Well, he was, but he's had a few batterings, hasn't he? So yeah, now he might not be privileged anymore. Now he's just brain damaged. Now he's just a complete retard. That's all he is now. You know. Simon asked Wilder about his accusations against cheating, and he melted down, accused of being racist. I can just imagine that. And then just answer your question. All these racists, man. We will rise again. Like Deontay Wilder, someone really needs to teach that guy to speak English because you can barely understand what he's saying. You're not gonna be talking to Deontay Wilder. You gonna be talking to the Brown Bomber. I just answered your question, man. I only need to be perfect once, man. I am a king. I am a king yet will never give up. Um, Shit. Wardley allegedly WBA champ. Josh Kelly ran all night for a title. That was another one I was going to bet on. Lewis Crocker is a champ. Apparently, forgot. Yeah, I know about those three. Do you know, I did make a little bit of money. I bet on that guy, Jacob Bank, over in Denmark. You know, he was fighting William Skull, the guy who Canelo fought. Skull was like a 2-1 favorite for that fight. So I bet a fiver on Jacob Bank and I won like double my money. So that was quite good. That was a good little win there. He won by a 12th round knockout. He did. Um, Wilder has black privilege. Got a gift draw and ducked his Mando and Dillian White. Yeah. Well, Wilder ducked a lot of guys like ducked Povetkin, ducked White. You know, he ducked all sorts. He ducked anybody who was actually coming to win. You know. Anyone remember any other UK world champions? Wow, I know, I'm amazing, aren't I? Um, I'm always suspicious of someone who is supposedly cancelled like Fuentes, but it's popping up all over my recommended section. Yeah, I'm suspicious of that too, always, because it's how you know they're being astroturfed. Because people who are actually censored, you don't hear about them. All right, most people don't know their names, but just like Andrew Tate, just like Nick Fuentes, they're being astroturfed. You know, you go on YouTube and you see their face and you see them in thumbnails. You see the names of them in the titles. You see them on news articles on yahoo.com and all that. Like those guys are everywhere, despite supposedly being cancelled. You know, it's a lot of nonsense. It is. Yeah, Dalton Smith, didn't he win a title too? Against, what's his name? He beat Subriel Matthias recently by knockout. We must break free from the chains of white oppression and egg weights and land black power fist of melanin on Chisora. That should be like Wilder's. Like if he does fight Chisora, that should be his speech going into that fight. Yeah, that would be funny. It would. Dalton Smith won British, Commonwealth, European, then world title, so he's 100% legit. Yeah, he's done it the hard way, hasn't he? He's gone from domestic to like contender to being a world champion, and he's beat a decent guy to do it. So why not? Eh? The Afghans leaving Islam in the US, they eat pork and drink alcohol, and they convert to Christ. Yeah, that's the power of bacon, isn't it? That's how good bacon is. Like, there's been so many Muslims over the years who tried bacon or who ate bacon by accident, and they were like, you know what? I'm starting to think Islam just ain't for me because this bacon is something else, man. And you're telling me that if I'm a Christian, I can still eat bacon? Yeah, yeah. You're telling me that? Wow. Yep. Finally, I mentioned earlier I fell asleep. That was why I didn't start it. I fell asleep and then someone woke me up. You know. Billie Eilish, the talentless prick with her stolen land comments. Well, if Billie Eilish is on stolen land, by all means, leave. Like, can Billie Eilish not just leave the country? Can she not just go and live in Somalia or something? And then hopefully when she goes to Somalia, she gets exactly what she deserves. That would be, she gets culturally enriched. I'd be fully in support of that. That'd be good. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to society, would it? If Billie Eilish found herself like with her head on a spike, in Somalia. Yeah, Ball got knocked out, and then his team chimped out and attacked the attacked the other team. It's kind of funny. Again, typical Scousers. Scousers are like, see, you ever come to if you ever come to America, stay away from. Sorry, what am I saying? I'm too tired. If you ever come to Britain, stay away from Liverpool because it's full of Scousers. Don't go there. And Scousers are just like the runts of the litter as far as British are concerned. Chisora won because of white privilege. That's Wilder's next excuse, and that Fury was involved somehow. Yeah, he'll claim that Fury like spiked his drink or put something on the end of Chisora's gloves or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going with Chisora too. I think as long as he doesn't just walk into a right hand and get knocked out, he should get inside and maul Wilder and beat him up just the way Fury did. I think Chisora can win that fight pretty easily, probably by stoppage too. Fa Ajagba will be fighting Charles Martin. That's a good little crossroads fight. Charles Martin is pretty shot now, but still dangerous. He can still punch. Fa Ajagba's a bigger guy. He hits harder. I think he's younger. I think he's got more miles on the clock. He'll probably win. Probably. Hello, Thomas. Good to see you. Islam will come to an end. Yep. One day there'll be another crusade. And then all the fence-sitting contrarians for the next 2,000 years will say, but what about the crusade? We'll talk about how evil the Muslims are when they're like slaughtering people and beheading them and raping 9-year-olds and all that. And then again, the contrarians will all say, but the crusades, what about Charlemagne? What about Charlemagne? Yeah. Bacon makes them snap out of the days of Islam. Yeah, that's what happens. They have a taste of bacon, like they accidentally eat it, or they they just bite the bullet and go, give me a piece of that, let me try it, and then they're like, you know what, Islam ain't for me. This is too good. Where can I get more of this? Where's the nearest butcher? Where's the nearest non-halal butcher? People have been going on Billy's house demanding refuge on her stolen land. Yeah, that's what should happen. She should give her stolen land up to some like tribal folk, and then she should move to Somalia and hopefully get culturally enriched there. That would be great. And then we wouldn't have to listen to her garbage music anymore, would we? Which isn't even really music. It's just like random synthesizers and whispering, like some synthesizer in the background with her whispering. That's literally every one of her songs. Crap, Funny thing is, white people should leave according to these people, but they change their mind when they say the same about blacks and Latinos should leave because they're on stolen land. Well, yeah, I mean, blacks don't. If blacks are living in America, then they're living on stolen land because they didn't originate in the Americas, did they? No, they originate in Africa, so they should leave too. By that logic, They had a ball that night in Liverpool. Oh yeah, yeah. Figueroa had a ball for sure. Um, is that why Liverpool FC fans are so damn annoying? Yeah, yeah. Scousers are just the most annoying people in Britain. They're all leftists, and they're all into cocaine and taking it up the ass and all that. And then causing riots and then blaming the police for the riot that they caused. That's what Liverpool people are known for, not taking responsibility. Yeah, no worries, mate. Enjoy your trip to Dublin. Shout out to Del Boy. Good to see you. I wish I bet on Figueroa ball. Yeah, same. I was planning to bet on it because there was very good odds on Figueroa. I picked Fig. I just had a feeling going into that fight. Yeah, I think what did it for me was like he had a big size difference and he was the bigger puncher, but I was concerned about him not getting the decision in Britain and Ball being able to just outlast him kind of thing. That was why I was hesitant to place a bet. So yeah, I never went through with it in the end. I think the apostasy is ruining their faith alone. Their birth rate is collapsing. Apparently, Errol Spence will be coming back to face Tim Tszyu. Do you know that's an interesting, like, loser leaves town kind of fight, isn't it? Because Tim Tszyu has looked terrible ever since that Fundora fight. He's looked awful since, and Errol Spence hasn't fought since the what'd you call it fight, the Crawford fight, where he looked completely atrocious and started to show signs of brain damage. So that could really go either way. I had no idea who I'd pick in that fight, to be perfectly honest. Who you got in Wood Warrington too? I'm leaning towards Warrington. Do you know, I'm leaning towards Warrington as well. And the reason why is because Warrington in the first fight definitely established technical dominance over Lee Wood. So I can't see Lee Wood outboxing him and winning on points. I think that the only chance Lee Wood really has is the same chance he had in the first fight, and that is for Warrington to square up, to forget about his defense, and to get caught and stopped. So that's definitely a possibility because again, Warrington is just stupid. He could be winning a fight easily, and then he'll take unnecessary risks. Thinking he's a tough guy and that, and then he'll get caught and dropped. And obviously, you don't want to do that with a guy like Lee Wood who has knockout power in both hands. But I feel like if Warrington just sticks to the game plan and boxes smart, he should win the fight on points, like, pretty easily. I don't see why he shouldn't. Like, so to me, it all comes down to the tactics that Warrington employs. Like, if Warrington applies educated pressure, works the body, cuts off the ring, uses his jab, relies on his high guard, doesn't allow Lee Wood to drag him into a punch up, Warrington should win on points. So yeah, I'm going with Warrington in that fight. They taste turkey, bacon, then want the real thing. Yeah, yeah. The boxing world is glazing Shakur as if Tio has not been a complete clown his whole career, or as if any of Shakur's fights are even real. As if Jazza Dickens wouldn't beat Shakur in a real fight, like he would. It'll be funny if Chisora would KO Wilder in similar fashion to when Wilder last fought in England against Harrison. Getting splattered in the corner, Price KO over Harrison was more impressive. Yeah, it was. It was. Price actually took him out legitimately, whereas Wilder hit him on the back of the head while he was down and should have been DQ'd for that. I feel sorry for ex-Muslims. They should be able to eat bacon freely. Yeah, they should be able to eat bacon without people threatening to blow them up for eating bacon. Yeah, Figueroa is a solid fighter. Korea got stalled by PBC. He got jobbed against Fulton in their first fight. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He won that fight clearly, but again, he was fighting a feather-fisted hood rat, wasn't he? So he was never going to get the win. Those guys just show up, and as long as they remain conscious for the fight, for the 12 rounds, they get the decision. That's how it was in PBC, Same thing happened to so many fighters that went over to face him. Fury's going to beat Makhmudov comfortably. I think he'll fight the winner of Wardley Dubois, setting up the Usyk trilogy next year. Well, you see, the thing about Makhmudov, like, don't get me wrong, Fury should win that fight comfortably, and he's definitely like leagues above Makhmudov in terms of ability. But Makhmudov did show a little bit of improvement against Dave Allen, and I know it's Dave Allen, but like Makhmudov in that fight to me showed the ability to pace himself and manage his stamina, because in the early part of Makhmudov's career, he would literally just go out there and he had absolutely no game plan whatsoever. He was just like, go out there and kill, right? Go out there and knock you out in one round, punch through the target and throw everything behind every punch. But at least ever since getting knocked out by Kabayel and how he is how he was in the Dave Allen fight, he's throwing punches, he's taking a breather, he's managing his stamina, and he's actually thinking about what he's doing, and that's going to give him a much better chance of beating Fury. But I still feel like Fury should have enough left to comfortably beat him, because Fury is obviously going to have more stamina. He's much taller and bigger than anyone Makhmudov has fought before. He's more dynamic. He's got better skills. Probably physically stronger. Like Fury is just a better fighter in every way, and I think stamina will be the main difference between the two. Akhmedov has pretty poor stamina. Now he's better at managing his stamina now since he had those losses, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. It's still a decent comeback fight for Fury though. Like it's a lot more trouble than you would have thought that he would go for because Fury generally goes for easy opponents on his comebacks. Some of them drinking pubs and the imams are shocked at it. Hey, the imams probably drink too. At this point, with the options Usyk has, such a potential Wilder or Chisora fight, I'm actually fine with a Fury trilogy fight. Yeah, I don't think there'll be a Fury trilogy though, because there's no demand for it. Because it's not like the second fight was like super entertaining or anything like that. It wasn't like, wow, that was such a good fight, and even though Usyk won both, you'd want to see it again. No, no, the first fight was a good fight, very entertaining, but a clear win for Usyk. And the second fight wasn't that good a fight, and it was a dominant win for Usyk. So you can't imagine the third fight being really any different. So I don't think there's going to be enough demand. Like this, it's probably going to be even more demand to see Fury fight Wardley just because it's someone different. I mean, sorry, Usyk to fight Wardley. I suppose Fury could fight Wardley as well, but yeah, there's going to be more demand for Usyk to fight Wardley just because it's going to be someone different, someone he hasn't fought yet. Or if Wilder does go ahead and beat Chisora, just stick him in with Usyk as well, because again, it's another name. It's somebody who we haven't seen. It's a style match we haven't seen. No point seeing him fight Fury again. Yeah, Fabio and Caballero are the more deserving of the title shot, because they're guys who have been winning fights. They're undefeated and they're on a roll lately, so either one of them would make more sense. Or Usyk to fight Caballero. Yeah, that makes sense. I think Usyk should fight Caballero, but I could see a Fury trilogy next year for Undisputed. I think that's the plan. Fury wins the WBO, setting up Undisputed. But would Fury beat Fabio Wardley at this stage? Again, Fabio Wardley much better than Makhmudov, in my opinion. If Fury gets by Makhmudov, there's no guarantee he would beat Fabio Wardley. That's another really hard fight for Fury. Dubois getting another undeserved title shot against Wardley. Oh, is Dubois fighting Wardley? Is that fight actually scheduled? I wasn't aware of that, but that's an interesting fight. I probably favor Wardley in that, to be honest. At least at this stage. Yeah, Dubois versus Zhang would be a good fight. That's a big risk for Dubois though, for not much reward. Yeah, if he works for the title shot. I don't actually mind Wardley Dubois. Wardley's limited, but could make Triple D quit again. Yeah, he could. Like Wardley will take shots to land shots, and he'll get in and he'll maul you. Daniel Dubois has been knocked out, how many times now? 3 times in his career now. So are you are you confident that he wouldn't crumble against the pressure of someone like Fabio Wardley, who hits significantly harder than Usyk, by the way? Wouldn't surprise me at all if Wardley broke him down and knocked him out. Like, I could see Wardley even getting dropped in that fight or hurt badly and then coming back to win by stoppage. I could totally see that. Like, that would be a very, very interesting fight while it lasted. Yeah, Wardley versus Dubois is a great fight. I just don't think it's warranted a title fight. Well, I mean, Wardley has the title, so the title's going to be on the line for it. So it is what it is. I feel like the plan is to warrant to keep the WBO belt in house. We're setting up the Fury Usyk trilogy. Yeah. Well, I mean, whether it's Fury, whether it's Dubois, whether it's Usyk, Warren just wants one of his guys to have that belt. Seems like to me. At least he has an option on the winner, and then he can get paid for another undisputed fight with Usyk potentially. People are forgetting with Fury, he fights to the level of his opponents. Yeah, he does. That's true. There's a chance Fury will make it very hard himself and probably get dropped. Yeah, because if Fury's lazy and if he hasn't trained, just like for some of his fights, like the first Wilder where he just fought like an idiot, he could leave himself open and get caught by Makhmudov and dropped. That could easily happen, especially with Makhmudov being a lot more measured with his approach to the sport now. Yeah, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. That's what makes the fight interesting. Fury is unpredictable. Yeah, Fury's always been that. Would be funny to see Fury get battered again. Well, surely if he fights Usyk a third time, he's gonna get battered again. Surely there'll be a demand for it because people will still believe Fury was robbed. Nobody believes Fury was robbed both times. Nobody actually believes that. The only person who's saying that is Fury himself. I've not heard anybody else say that. Literally nobody. Rumors about Usyk instead taking on another title holder, Andy Ruiz at the buffet. No, Usyk's got no chance of beating Andy Ruiz at the buffet. Like that's a complete mismatch. In the ring, yes, but not in the buffet. Do you think Usyk would get conscripted if he retired? No, no, he would. Like you said, yeah, he'd be like a Hunger Games PR guy. He wouldn't actually be in the war. No, he's too big of an asset for that. Usyk versus Caballel in Germany. Yeah, why not? Why not? Caballel sells a lot of tickets in Germany, so let's have it. Why not? Would Fury take the risk versus Fabio? Well, if he can get a title out of it, then it's not that big a risk, is it? Because he's not got much to lose. Because there's no guarantee he's going to get another Usyk fight. So if he can get a free WBO title shot, then why not? Just fight Parker or Wardley, and he'll fight the winner of Parker and Wardley. Parker was already interim champ for 2 years. Well, that was Parker's fault. He could have pushed like that's the thing I said at the time. Parker could have easily lobbied for the Usyk fight, but he clearly wasn't interested. He wanted to fight Zhang and Dubois and all these other guys. Like he could have fought Usyk. He could have forced Usyk to either vacate the title or fight him. So yeah, I'd slightly favour Fury over Wardley, but I think it's an interesting fight. Yeah. Yeah, like, obviously, you gotta favour Fury if he's anything resembling his prime, but he's not anything resembling his prime, is he? Let's be honest, and Wardley's the perfect kinda guy to find you out if you're not committed to the sport anymore, you know? I'm not saying I wanna see the Usyk for a fight, but with AJ out of the picture practically, I think it's a logical fight to make. Well, it could get made, I don't think there's gonna be any demand for it to justify it. Parker had already earned his shot for 1 year and 7 months as interim, yeah. There shouldn't be an interim champion for that long, I don't think. I think the interim champion should be given the title shot, even if he doesn't want it, or he should have to give up the interim title, as far as I'm concerned. Because the whole point of an interim title is that you get the title shot or you become champion. That's the whole point of it, you know? Fury and AJ doesn't seem like it'll happen. Dubois will try to box Wardley early and take him out and attempts to trick to get him to get on himself a win when the plan isn't going right. We've realised there's no plan B. Yeah, but I genuinely think Wardley could just walk him down and stop him. Fury's fighting Arslanbek Makhmudov. That's his next opponent in a stadium, apparently. I think AJ might be done. Yeah, I mean, if he's fighting Jake Paul, then he's most definitely done, as far as I'm concerned. I think Fury is finished as well. AJ's worse. Why Fury not pushing for AJ? That's the biggest fight for him. Well, maybe he is behind the scenes, but we've just not seen, have we? Obviously, we're not reading these contract negotiations or anything, are we? Do you lean more young Earth or old Earth? Young Earth, because that's what the scriptures and archaeology support. So yeah, I lean young Earth. Believe me, there's tons of people on Facebook that said it after the rematch. Yeah, look, they were just listening to the idiot commentators. They've no idea what they're watching. I tried raw milk. It tastes really good. Felt a bit overstimulated after it. So I love raw milk. Like it's expensive, but when I can afford it, I get it. Tastes really nice. It's nice and thick and creamy, and makes you feel good when you drink it. You know, very good for you too. Very nutritious. The more I think about a Fury versus Wardley fight, the more I like it. I think it would be a great fight. Yeah, it would be a great fight. It would be. And again, it's like, can Fury be asked to even train these days for a fight like that? And can he keep a guy like that off him? Because we know Wardley can be asked, but can Fury be asked? Who knows? Caballo's style, I think, would make Usyk uncomfortable, but Usyk has the power to drop Caballo coming in as well. It's a good fight. Have it in Germany. The crowd in Caballo's last fight was great. Yeah, it should be in Germany. Usyk's fought in Germany several times anyway, so make that happen. And then all the idiots on Twitter can say Usyk might not get the decision in Germany because he has to knock him out to get a draw in Germany. And then when he wins by like a 19-109 unanimous decision, they can just pretend they never said anything. You know, from the British, American, and Spanish judges or whoever, with the probably like Mexican referee. I don't know, because it's in Germany. I don't like Chisora at all, but I hope he flattens Wilder. Yeah, it would be funny if he flattens Wilder. It would. You see what Chisora said recently on Korea's After Boxing? No, I didn't see that. What did he say? What did he say? I wonder. Let me guess. Something like James Toney levels of incoherent. Wilder is going to knock Chisora out. Chisora is going to slow down. He could do, but I could see Chisora getting inside and mauling him. Like I could legit see that. You know, it would be funny. Like if after all this, like all this time, Chisora goes in there and retires Wilder. Imagine. Joshua versus Wilder will never happen. I don't think. I don't think those guys are interested in fighting. Heavyweight's quite boring right now. The bar wall is it, mate? Boxing in general is just boring right now. It's just a boring sport. Like, cannot be arsed with it these days. You know, it's like, what even is there to talk about? You know, we're on here. We talk about these fights and what might happen and what could happen. These fights never happen. Right? They get talked about for years, and then these guys get old and they just forget what they're doing. You know. Um, I'm just wondering for Italma to get older. Just waiting for Italma to get older. Well, isn't he already like 45 or something? He looks it. That's why I like the idea of it. It's like the underdog in Wardley that can beat the better fighter on paper due to higher work ethic and heart. Yeah, and he certainly has that. He certainly has a higher work ethic and more heart right now than Fury does, possibly than Fury even had in his prime, to be honest. He just wasn't as good. He's not as good as Fury was in his prime, you know. Tony just hates on Usyk, says utterly ridiculous. Tony's always said ridiculous stuff. But Tony was a garbage fighter anyway. He was a journeyman. And he's so badly brain damaged that he can't even string a sentence together. Like, the dude is literally retarded because he was a punching bag with no defense, who couldn't even beat Drake Thadze. Did you see Wilder in that interview crashing out about Fury cheating and white privilege and all that? No, I didn't see that. Not a recent one, anyway. But Wilder's also retarded and brain damaged with a low IQ. Kindi would traumatize. Can he traumatize the Muslims worse than he's doing now? Possibly, but it would take some doing because he's pissing them off big time. Like, there's a big hit on his head. I'm surprised he's even still alive, if truth be told. If he did the things he does, like in my country, he'd be in prison, and then he would get stabbed to death in prison. That's probably what would happen. But I guess in America, he knows what he's doing, you know. Yeah, Beevel's just disappeared. It's like he won that Beterbiev fight, and then he's had enough of his career. I think Beaver wants to retire, probably. He thinks he's made enough money, his legacy is secure, and he's like, nah, I'm done with this. That's probably what it is. He's probably just waiting for like the biggest payday he can get before finally retiring. I met some chick yesterday who used to be Catholic, converted to Islam. It was somewhat an oddity. She's probably just an idiot liberal then if she converted to Islam, because she'd have to be. Who converts to Islam? Seriously, who's that stupid? I remember the most annoying time in British boxing was 2018-19 when Dave Allen was being massively overhyped and had an army of normie sycophants on Twitter. I remember I was telling them to put him in with Povetkin. Like, do you remember they were talking about that fight? I wanted to see that fight. I wanted to see that fight like big time. I really did. That would have been so funny. Jarrell Miller and Joe Joyce are in talks to fight. See, that makes perfect sense. Those are both very similar fighters. Jarrell Miller, um, I bet an accumulator not last week, the week before, and I won like 11 quid or something. And one of the fights was Jarrell Miller. I bet on him to win, but it was close because he won it by split decision. So that nearly ruined the accumulator, but thankfully it didn't. So I won it. So yeah, that was fine by me. But yeah, put Jarrell Miller in with Joyce. That's a good fight. Joyce has become retarded somehow, so he doesn't know what he's doing. And Jarrell Miller was always kind of a punching bag, so that's just like punching bag versus punching bag. I'd watch it. Why not? James Toney won't give Usyk credit because he's not black and on. Oh, who cares? That's the thing. Who cares what James Toney of all people gives credit? Like, see if James Toney gave me credit for something, I'd actually be worried. I'm like, hang on a second. Why is this like senile, like brain dead, punch drunk retard giving me credit? Is this some sort of insult? Is this some sort of joke? Like, I would honestly be offended if James Toney gave me credit for something. Let's go, baby. Burger King. Don King, kiss my ass. We're going to kiss my ass. That's your average James Toney interview. And then when you ask him why he lost a fight, it's, oh, I had my face because of shoulder injury. It'll be a different outcome next time. Every single interview after he loses a fight, thereabouts. Uni, was it white? It does not matter. Most converts leave the faith eventually. Talking about Islam, yeah. Dimitri Bivol vs. Beterbiev 3 should have happened by now. Yeah, it should have happened immediately after the second fight. It was Bivol who didn't want it because he got his win, and that was Beterbiev wasn't old enough for him to beat him convincingly. I actually thought Beterbiev won both fights, personally. That's just my opinion. Wilder is the kind of narcissist, a severe low IQ one. Yeah, he is. He bought his own hype. He's the definition of buying your own hype, Wilder is, without a doubt. I think Bivol is fighting that German guy who beat Jean Pascal, forgot his name. Well, Bivol is certainly taking on all comers then, isn't he? He's certainly daring to be great if he's fighting that guy. I'm sure there's several things he can do that are worse that he's doing now, but if something happened to Hatun, he would have. Yeah, if something happened to Hatun, he would have taken it way further. But she's still alive, thankfully. Is that the guy's name? Eferet? I don't even know who that is. That girl said that there's many different versions of the Bible, but one Quran. And while she thinks the Quran isn't corrupted, there's actually many different versions of the Quran. And and there were pages of the Quran that were eaten by goats, and a lot of things that were lost in translation, Devin Haney is worse. Dude has the intelligence and charisma of a brick. Davis is a dumb, but at least he's not as much of a weirdo. Well, I think Davis is worse, personally. He ran over a pregnant woman and then left her for dead, so I think that's worse, if you ask me. Ex-Muslims are the only Muslims I feel bad for. I have no sympathy for you if you convert to that faith, considering how exposed it. You've got absolutely no reason to convert to Islam if you are capable of doing 5 minutes of research into that religion and you convert to it, you deserve everything you get, Wilder believes anything that black supremacist 78 Sports tells him. James Toney liked your video on it. Mate, I doubt James Toney could even understand my video on him. Again, James Toney is literally brain dead retarded. He's so brain damaged that you can't get a coherent sentence out of him. Best win is Jirov. Yeah, and he didn't even win that fight. He got a gift. That was a fake fight. Fury is the only boxer I've seen who sets up power shots after throwing a backhand on your guard to distract. Yeah, he does weird unorthodox stuff like that you don't you don't often train for or prepare for, Jirov beat Toney. He outworked him in most of the round. Yeah, he outlanded him in almost every round of that fight. I know he got dropped in the last round, but in almost every round of that fight, Jirov landed more punches and many more punches too, But James Toney just has this weird. People have this weird fascination with him where they just pretend he wins even when he didn't. Judges did it his whole career, you know, because you can't get a decision in America. You need to knock him out to get a draw in America. From the river to the sea, there'll be no Island to see. Awesome. Beevil dropped off the world this past year. Yeah, he did. Davis is on for his 4th domestic violence charge. Again, how's that guy not in jail? He should just be kneecapped in prison. He should. All I want to see is how Fury does against someone without any stiff arming or backhands. I genuinely think Usyk would have stopped him without it. Yeah, without illegal tactics, he wouldn't get that far in the sport. No doubt about it. I didn't know Davis hit a pregnant woman. No, he ran over a pregnant woman in his car and then left her for dead. He almost murdered her, and then he didn't even face charges. Yeah, Hatun is a Turkish Christian. Yeah, Arab nations like Turkey were invaded by Islamists and were converted forcibly, and people were forced to pay the jizya. And that was why the Crusades happened. The Crusades were retaliatory. So when you get these pot smoking, white liberal, contrarian douchebags who say, "What about the Crusades?" Just say that. Just tell them the Crusades were retaliatory. A response to Islamic colonialism, centuries of Islamic colonialism. Davis was literally a fugitive on the one. Well, he should be in jail. He should be in jail for the rest of his life. It's actually quite sad how one of the best American heavyweights are two big babies, Jared Anderson and Jerome Miller. Yeah, and they're both garbage as well. Anderson is complete trash. He's like the worst of the two, I think. I think she's a teenager because she's ignorant of every topic. She couldn't comprehend the arguments. We explained the Islamic dilemma. She kept saying, "I won't stop being a Muslim." Well, do you know what? Let her go to Pakistan and let her marry some Mandari 45-year-old Pakistani Muslim and be forced into an arranged marriage. That's what she deserves. She belongs there, you know. There's a funny video where James Toney and Shannon Briggs are arguing on FaceTime. Briggs makes Toney look like a complete idiot. Well, that wouldn't be difficult to do. I mean, that's like going to a special school and picking out like the dumbest the dumbest kid with Down syndrome, like the dumbest 5-year-old with Down syndrome, and then asking them about quantum physics. That's what that's like. It's pretty easy to do, you know. Pretty easy to do. Ex-Muslims, hardly heard of them, but they come to Christ a lot. Yeah, a lot of them come to Christ because they spend years studying the gospel and then they become born again. That's what happens. There's that Ruiz no contest as well. Which no con? Oh yeah. James Toney versus Ruiz. Yeah. Toney tested positive for steroids. I only watched Bivol Beterbiev once. Like both fights had Bivol winning both. I had Beterbiev winning the second 7-5. I had Beterbiev winning the first 8-4. Off topic, do you watch tennis? Do you know, I've watched tennis probably a handful of times in my life. I remember watching Andy Murray versus Roger Federer, and Roger Federer won. That was the only like full tennis game I ever watched. Aside from that, I've never been a big fan of tennis personally, no. Don't mind playing it though. It's quite fun to play that and badminton. Tank Davis was getting outboxed by Francisco Fonseca, Mayweather McGregor, and he should have lost to Lamont Roach. Yeah, he got battered by Lamont Roach. That should have been a stoppage because he basically quit, but then they let him continue. And he lost anyway. An Italian guy, Dave Tiberi, had beaten Toney and he beat Toney badly. The fight wasn't even competitive. Same with what's his name? Fraser Kendo absolutely dominated Toney and got won every single round and got robbed on the scorecards. Jared Anderson truly deserves the name Big Baby because he's on a video actually sobbing. It's not fair. Boxing's so hard. yeah, with Roy Jones and all that. That was funny. Yeah, Briggs is far more witty and more intelligent than Toney. Briggs is actually quite funny, whereas Toney is literally just a retard. Like, Toney was always a retard, but now he's like a severely brain damaged retard, you know? I wish Shannon Briggs would let it go. did his "Let's Go Champ" thing in his prime, he would have made the heavyweight division in America more interesting. Shannon Briggs trolling Klitschko was golden. Yeah. Do you know Shannon Briggs was in a movie? He was in The Transporter 2. He was one of the bad guys in that movie. He has a couple of fight scenes with Jason Statham. It's quite funny. It's amazing that Briggs doesn't sound like Tony after the beating he took off Vitali, yeah. But to be fair, aside from that fight, Briggs never took any more beatings like that. The Vitali fight was the only like sustained 12-round beating he took in his career. He never took anything like that before or since. I think she's a progressive Muslim. She thinks abortion is fine up until 6 weeks, yeah. Well, if she's really a Muslim, she shouldn't support abortion at all. But again, you're talking about. So I'm assuming she's white, right? She sounds like some stupid white liberal, so doesn't surprise me at all. Imagine having Shannon Briggs as your neighbour saying, "Let's go, champ." You got to go to work or come back. Motivation. That's brilliant. That would motivate you. Not gonna lie, it certainly would. I'm just gonna plug my charger in 1 sec. Right. Was the one where Murray was in tears? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the one. I remember that very specifically. Murray broke down crying after he lost. I watched that. I think 'cause some of my family were around at the time. I was living with my grandmother, and yeah, that match came on, and we watched it, and yeah, it was quite a good match actually. Um, Apparently, Briggs had injuries going into that fight with Vitali. He said Vitali's better than Vlad. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I think during the fight he did tore a bicep, um, but I don't think he had injuries going in. No. Yeah, Fed won in 4 sets, but they closed the roof, which favoured Federer as he plays better without wind due to quicker surface. I saw Shannon in Transporter 2. Loved it. Yeah, I like those movies too. They're quite funny. And yeah, he was one of the bad guys in that movie. It was quite funny. And yeah, I remember playing that very clearly. Do you know? And I seen bits of it. Andrew Wilson versus Matt Dillahunty. I've not watched it all, but I've seen bits of it, and pretty clearly Matt Dillahunty got humiliated because he's a sodomite who's in a relationship with a tranny, has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. He's completely incoherent. He usually storms off and quits debates whenever somebody like brings that up, and he hasn't got any like justification for it. He's a complete idiot. Complete moron. That's what that guy is. James Toney said, well, of course, James Toney said that because James Toney is a brain damaged retard. So, of course, he's going to say that. Not he expecting anything like coherent or logical to come out of James Toney's mouth. I certainly wasn't. I wouldn't expect James Toney to say anything that was like even remotely coherent. I always felt like Briggs versus David A should have happened in 2016. Yeah, same. I was looking forward to it. That would have been a fantastic co-headliner for Golovkin Kilbrook. Yeah, it would have been. Like, Hay probably would have knocked him out, but you never know. Like, Briggs might have been able to endure it and come back and win. Who knows? Funny how Matt Dillahunty's supposed to be an atheist intellectual, but he rage quits every debate. Yeah, he just walks out when he can't. When he realizes he's not talking to some idiot, he walks out. But it's like Matt Dillahunty, you can't be an atheist and an intellectual because you'd have to be stupid to be an atheist. You'd have to be. Yeah. Yeah, I watched it. Injured his arm in the other part of the fight. I suspect it was a result of his ex-muscle mass. Very physically strong, not his ideal weight for boxing. Well, another thing, Shannon Briggs was on steroids for that fight. Here's another thing you guys might not know. See, on the way back to the dressing room after that fight, Shannon Briggs collapsed. And according to Klitschko's team, it was because he was trying to dodge a post-fight drug test. And we know he later did fail a drug test. So yeah, I think that it's pretty obvious that Shannon Briggs was on steroids for that fight, which might explain how he was able to endure the beating, for 12 rounds. Alcaraz versus Sinner at the French Open last year was a great game. Yeah, I didn't see it. Again, the only game I saw, like, I think start to finish was that Murray Federer game, you know. I feel for ex-Muslims because they were forced to deal with something. Yeah, most Muslims are born into Islam, and then when they get the first chance to escape it, they do, you know. Fury versus Hay, the fight that never happened. Can't believe Klitschko was afraid of Fury's tippy-tap, slappy punches. Should have walked through him. Tipsy ducked rematch. Fury versus Hay, in the first 5 rounds, that would be very dangerous. Like, Hay would be very, very dangerous because Hay had, like, one-punch power in both hands. He was far faster than Fury as well, far more explosive. Fury had never fought anybody that fast or explosive in his career at that point, so Fury could have gotten dropped and he could have gotten knocked out. If Fury were to survive the first 5 rounds, then he comes back and puts a beating on Hay in the later rounds because Hay had no stamina past 5 rounds, and needed to preserve his energy as best he could, you know. Fury had great stamina even back then, and Fury could have also leaned back and just outboxed him and won on points by scooping the second half. So I would make Fury the favorite, but he would have to survive a scare early on, I think, you know. God bless you. Good to see you here. Yeah, Transporter 2 also had goated kickboxer Sammy Schilt, the giant 6'11" dude. Statham killed him, but I rose down after. Yeah, he did. When he fights that big, massive guy, the big kickboxer. Yeah, there's some good fight scenes in those movies. They were great. Briggs was good with some very nice skills, but at the 2000s, he lifted too many weights. Very strong, but Vitali was more explosive and could see the punches coming from miles. Yeah, Briggs could never really handle world class technical boxers. Like when he fought, um, what's his name, Sultan Ibragimov. He got schooled in that fight as well. Like he just couldn't handle guys who were technically better than him. I know that he did knock out Liakovic, but Liakovic was schooling him prior to the knockout. He kind of just got lucky there, you know. So yeah, he was a good fighter, but not world class in my opinion. I always felt prime David Haye could have beaten Fury. He definitely would have had a chance of beating him early on, but I'd still make Fury the favorite, you know. David Wood crashed a Darway event with clothing that had Quran verses. Yeah, he showed up to Speaker's Corner with that, and that was so that they wouldn't stab him because then they'd be stabbing the Quran, you know. Yeah, I mean that was the most obvious outcome ever. It was obvious that was going to happen. I mean, it's a Shakur Stevenson fight. See, when Shakur Stevenson fights, it's generally going to be, unless he's fighting like a total bum, it's going to be a unanimous decision for Shakur Stevenson. Said in the fight, Tio looked just like Sandor Martin. Yeah. Well, Sandor Martin would have beaten Tio if he actually came to win. But Tio's fights are not real. They're all fixed. Um, Alvarez or Sinner would get raped in straight sets by younger Nadal at French. Djokovic winning 4. I think they may have overrated weak-handed, backhanded Federer, though. Yeah, maybe. We need remigration. It'll fix everything. Yeah, that'll save all the world's problems, won't it? Reformer here to save the day. I think Hay at his peak would have beaten Joshua. I agree. I think Hay stylistically is a horrible fight for Joshua. I think he would do exactly what Dubois did, knock him out within 5 rounds. I do. Briggs actually funny in real person now, unlike a lot of other Black American boxers. Yeah, Briggs is definitely funny. Like Briggs is a great entertainer, and you can see why he was considered for movies. Like it would have been interesting to see Briggs in WWE. Like, could you imagine him in WWE or like TNA wrestling or something? Like that would have been hilarious. Going, let's go, champ. Like they could have him like wrestling with Vince McMahon and Donald Trump and all that. That would be so funny. It would. Know that you said in one of your live streams that Dubois was chinless. Then all of a sudden he developed a strong chin. How do steroids make your chin stronger? Well, it's a combination of steroids, you know, confidence, building up your neck muscles, you know, getting yourself in better condition in general, you know, and being able to kind of numb yourself and tuck your chin better. There's a lot of things that go into being able to take a shot. And you get guys who are just naturally tougher, you know, it just depends. But you can become tougher due to pharmacology and training, you know. if Usyk takes steroids or loses, he's a bum. But all the black Americans can take everything and look roided out their minds, get KO'd several times. It's fine. Double standards galore. Yeah, look at James Toney, I know, an obvious steroid user who was caught. Sammy Schilt is a legend. Yeah, kickboxer. Briggs had very poor defense, but made up for it with strength, power, and speed. He got a gift draw against Francois Botha. Although he dropped him, still would beat the likes of Jarrell Miller. Yeah, Briggs in his prime, I would favour to knock out Jarrell Miller. He'd just do the same thing Dubois did, I think. He'd just beat him up and stop him late. Prime Hay would beat AJ by knockout, I think. If we're talking peak Hay around 2010 to 2012 against Fury, at that time I'd pick Hay. The Fury that fought Vladimir Klitschko against a deteriorated Hay. Fury very comfortably, yeah. Obviously, if it's both of them at their absolute prime, then it's a more competitive fight. I give Hay a very good chance early on, but I give Fury the chance later on. I do favour Fury. Yeah, how's it going, Nutmix? God bless you. My dream fights are Vitali versus Fury. I think he 8-4's tipsy. Also, Usyk versus Ali. Usyk KO's Ali in the first round. I don't think that's even a competitive fight, to be perfectly honest. Back in the day, my third ever sparring match, I sparred some amateur fighter who beat the shit out of me. After I became a coward, it took me long to start sparring again. Yeah, you can easily get PTSD from sparring and just from taking shots in general. Like it can put you off it, depending on the type of person. I'd like to see Vitali. But yeah, Vitali would have schooled Valiev. He'd have probably won every round and won on points. Don't think he would have stopped him, though. I think he would have won on points. I sparred yesterday, but got beat. Well, at least you got in there. You did okay. At least you gave it a try and you didn't pussy out, so that's good. Me too. It would be very interesting. There were talks about this fight and had been photographed together discussing a potential fight. You're on about Vitali and Valiev. Yeah, they just couldn't negotiate the fight for some reason. No one rates AJ anymore. They see him as a chinless bum. Everyone at my work says Fury KOs him in 6. But I remember the last time Fury stopped someone. I don't remember the last time Fury stopped someone that early. Well, again, let's not forget, people were picking, people at actual boxing gyms were picking Ngannou to beat AJ. So it just goes to show you how quickly the narrative changes. If a fighter loses, everyone starts picking against him. As soon as he wins again, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And with Anthony Joshua, it seems to be all or nothing, every time he wins or loses. The K-Bros would have battered Valiev, yeah, easily. Who are these retards advocating for remigration? I think the shift is too much to fix this. How about they fix themselves? How will they go about it? Not a quick fix. Nope. There is no fix. There's nothing you can do. It should have been fixed in the 1950s. Should have never got to this point. Traps and neck muscles both improve. Yeah, they do, definitely. You can improve it doing deadlifts. Deadlifts actually work your chin, believe it or not. Imagine going to war with Russia and you get chased by Nikolai Valiev. I'd probably scream like Marv from Home Alone. That would be like fighting a Dark Souls boss or something like that. Just hacking away at him with the big long health bar. And if he hits you once, you lose half your health. That's what that would be like. Prime Calzaghe versus Crawford, mate. Calzaghe way too big for Crawford. Way too big. They're like 5 weight divisions apart. Calzaghe was a natural cruiserweight. He would knock Crawford out probably in 2 rounds. That wouldn't even be remotely competitive. Usyk would probably beat Lewis on points. I give Lewis a puncher's chance, but Usyk probably won on points. I wish there was someone the same size as Fury with decent athleticism to see how Fury does without height and reach advantage. His success is questionable due to being bigger than everyone. Well, obviously, if he wasn't so big, he wouldn't be as effective. That's obvious. I remember Wood versus Kovalev too. Andrew Wood's neck and traps were blown up. He probably took steroids and worked on his necks and traps for that fight. Yeah, and he still needed to low blow all night to get a chance of winning, Hay was wasted talent at heavyweight. Did beat and fight some good guys, but with his talent, didn't do enough. I don't think. Injuries didn't help, though. One win that did age well was Chisora. Yeah, because Chisora's gone on to beat guys like Otto Wallin and Gerald Washington and all that. So he's beaten some like fringe contenders who had a bit of hype at one point. And with Fury being able to so easily beat him, and of course, let's not forget he gave Usyk a tough fight. So that's a win that looks good on the record for Fury. Like those wins over Chisora look really good. And let's not forget he was the first guy to beat Chisora, and he beat him for the British and Commonwealth title. So it was a good accomplishment at the time. Fury needs a rematch versus Ngannou. Yeah, forget that. Like that will never happen. I don't think Ngannou will ever box again. I don't. People at my work thought Usyk had no chance against Fury because he was too small. I mentioned Cunningham and Nevin Pajcek. They were dead silent. Yeah, because they have no idea what they're talking about because they're casuals. They probably never even heard of Cunningham or Pajcek, you know? They're just going off the mainstream narrative. That's all they're doing. I only got back to sparring a couple months ago after some army guy gave me a speech about mentality and stuff. Well, that's good. I need to get back to training as well. I've not boxed this year. I've not been to the boxing gym once since New Year. So yeah, I'm gonna need to get back into it myself, you know. Crawford is going to fight again. I don't really care what Crawford does. Crawford's garbage. I don't really care what he does. If he wants to impress me, he can go to Germany and fight Kabayel at heavyweight. Then I'll be impressed. Until then, no. Who's the best inside fighter? Do you mean right now or ever? Well, one of the best inside fighters I've ever seen is probably Chocolatito. He might actually be the best ever. Um, yeah, I'd go with Chocolatito because he's still active, isn't he? So I'll go with him. He's like near flawless on the inside. They think they can get the army to force all the minorities. That's never going to happen. It's a deliberate ploy. What are they going to shoot them all? Because how else are you going to get them out? It doesn't make any sense to cause division, waste time, when we could be doing something practical. Yet, well, you can't expect government to ever do anything practical, can you? Let's be honest. If Fury can fight on the inside at all, it will look funny trying to duck under someone's jab to land a body shot like Usyk and Caballero. Well, Fury could fight on the inside in his prime, but I don't know if he's very good at it now because he's too fat, you know. Why do most guys in boxing gyms say you shouldn't lift? Because it's just an old school thing. They've been brainwashed to think that if you lift weights and build up muscle, it's going to slow you down and take away your stamina, which is complete and utter bollocks. But that's what they get taught. That's been taught in British boxing gyms probably since the 1920s or something. And people haven't, like most amateur boxing gyms haven't progressed from that. They still think doing burpees and push-ups will help you with boxing, but overhead pressing your body weight is somehow going to slow you down. Doesn't make sense. Pretty much most if not all world-class boxers lifted, you know. Yeah, how's it going, JD? God bless you, man. Ty Cena will jab that Russian bum dosser silly. Yeah, he's that big stiff idiot, and he probably will. Wilder's pretty terrible now. I don't think he can beat Chisora. Yeah, I'm picking Chisora. Like I know, I'm perfectly aware that Chisora could walk into a right hand and get knocked out, but I think for the most part, I favour Chisora because as soon as Chisora gets inside, it's over. Wilder can't fight inside. He can't defend himself inside. Chisora can. You know, he'd win it easily. If World War III breaks out, do you think all the British, Hindus, Pakistanis, and Bangladesh? I'm going to assume that's like a troll question to defend Britannia because obviously they're not, you know. And defend them from what? Who are they going to be defending them from? What, the Russians, the North Koreans? Like I don't know. I wouldn't defend my own country against them, to be honest. Inoue versus Prime Chocolatito. Inoue's a lot bigger, hits a lot harder. He's a more naturally talented athlete, but Chocolatito is leagues above him technically. Like Chocolatito was, I would actually favor Chocolatito in his prime, probably on points. Yeah, barely any. Yeah, most of them don't know about weights in the past, or they think it slows them down. In Andrew Wilson Ultimate Stadium, yeah, he did. Yeah, he asked Matt how a man can become a woman, and Matt immediately left because he knows he's bringing up his quote unquote girlfriend, which is a man pretending to be a woman. Because Matt Delahanty is a creepy sodomite who doesn't want to admit to being a creepy sodomite, you know. So Andrew Wilson ended the debate immediately. Some minorities, weirdly enough, are accused of being too loyal to the country than at back home. It's well, yeah. If you get like say an African guy or a Pakistani who flies a British flag, a lot of the time they get called Oreos. You know, they get accused of acting white and stuff. Which I mean, why wouldn't you? You're in a white country. You know, there's a reason you're in a white country. So what's wrong with acting white? I would say acting white means acting good. You know, acting better. I've noticed modern boxers lift small weights with high volume. Yeah, and that's all you need really. Like, because again, you're not going to gain a significant amount of muscle unless you're lifting heavy and you're doing like you're bulking. You're consuming an excessive amount of calories. You know, who would you pick between Steve Collins and Mikhail Kessler? Collins was technically better, but Kessler was bigger, hit a lot harder, was a better athlete. I'd either pick Collins on points or Kessler could maybe like come from behind and like drop him late and win a close decision. Like it's 50-50. I maybe favor Collins slightly based on his slightly better technical ability. But Kessler was definitely the better athlete and the bigger puncher. It's funny watching gym bros lift too heavy and fail. Yeah, like ego lifting. That is quite funny, I must admit. It is. I quite enjoy those videos. Salvador Sanchez was a great fighter for the time. For his era. He was one of the best. Um Wilder, bro, I am not reading that comment again. Wilder still has PTSD from Fury loss. He acted like SJW making racist comments on TV a few days ago. But again, he's same thing with James Toney though. You're talking to a brain damaged retard. Okay, Wilder never had much brains to begin with. So after those heavyweight batterings he's taken, are you expecting any sort of logic to come out of his mouth? Are you? Because I'm certainly not. I'm not expecting any. Tony Jeffries is an example of a terrible amateur boxing. His professional career flopped. No head movement, fights in a bladed stance all the time. Slaps with his overhand. No wonder he broke his hand. Yeah, his terrible punching technique ruined his hands. And if you look at like his career as a pro as well, he cherry picked hard and used like rehydration clauses, and it still wasn't enough. He still like ended up with a draw against a journeyman, and ended up retiring prematurely. So yeah, he was completely overrated, in my opinion. Very overrated fighter. Bulking up is so hard because the food is super bland and you have to eat loads of it. Harder than losing weight. Yeah, you need to eat a significant amount of protein and you need to eat and you need to sleep like 10 hours a night. Like see if you're bulking and you want to gain muscle and not just fat, you need to get a lot of sleep and you need to get a lot of nutrition. So you need to eat probably about 3,000-4,000 calories, possibly even 5,000 calories a day. Probably like 80% of it needs to be protein. But you still need carbs, unless you're like a genetic freak. You still need carbs to be able to train optimally. You need to lift weights at least 3 days a week, and you need to be adding weight to get bigger and stronger. It's a hard lifestyle. Like bulking is not easy. Like you say, it's a lot more difficult than losing weight. You know, losing weight you just don't eat, but you can't bulk and not eat. Collins would outbox Froch and win on points pretty easily, in my opinion. It will be similar to the Kessler fight, the first one. Tony dehydrated his opponent. Yeah, Tony Jeffries, when he could have beaten that guy without it. Scumbag move. But again, and again, I know that personally because the guy who you're on about, Matt Left Hook Haney, I actually know him personally. And I heard about that behind the scenes that when and it was done out of spite because Matt Haney in his previous fight fought on a Frank Maloney card and he beat one of Frank Maloney's prospects, a guy called Tony Hill. Matt Left Hook Haney went beat him up and won in a big upset. So they put him in with Tony Jeffries, but they forced a dehydration clause onto Matt that Jeffries, despite being the bigger guy, didn't need to adhere to. And you saw the difference in size between them and just how weak Haney ended up being with the dehydration clause, and he got destroyed, you know. That was a ridiculous situation. Tommy Robinson is a hypocrite. He doesn't want Pakistanis, yet he's okay with Hindus coming into shit on the streets. Yeah. How since when was it a white thing to lift a flag? Other nations have done it. Well, just listen to what the kind of things you hear in these communities, you know? When Wilder got dropped by Fury in the rematch, first punch was actually behind the yeah, it was actually, I remember that. He hit him behind the head, so it technically shouldn't have counted. Scrambled his senses for sure, though. What little senses were left. I remember when Tony Jeffries turned pro and I saw him fight. I couldn't believe that guy won a medal. Awful. Yeah, he was very very overrated. Again, he was just a big guy. Used weight stipulations. Probably fought in a pretty weak era for to get that bronze medal. He was never that good, in my opinion. He was never going to go that far as a pro, even if he didn't injure his hands. He was very overrated. But he's still living off that bronze medal to this day for his reputation. Today's the 36th anniversary of Douglas splattering Tyson, is it now? Don't even know that. Tommy be like, at least they ain't Muslim. Yeah, well, that's something. Yep. Shout out to Delboy every time. The reason Triple G had an iron chin is because he ate horse meat. Yeah, probably. Yeah, he grew up eating horse meat in Kazakhstan. Had a really high protein diet. Do you remember when it was one of Triple G's fights and it came up with some stats on the screen and it said favorite food, meat? I just thought that was quite funny. Someone made a meme of it. Thought that was quite funny. So yeah, that's a man who eats his protein. Mike Israel, mate, that guy's a weirdo. That guy's like a steroid addicted, like sociopath who has serious problems and apparently has a fake PhD as well. Yeah, I never liked that guy. I think the guy's an idiot, and he's also like a total grifter who makes like false controversies for views. Why he agreed to fight, he should come out and expose Tony Jeffries. Yeah, he should. He should do that. I don't think he will though. He doesn't seem the type. It's like a proper nice guy in that. Yeah, how's it going, your old dad? God bless you, man. Yeah, chicken and rice. That's what the people who are bulking eat, isn't it? I feel lethargic and tired all day nowadays. Maybe I need caffeine. Well, again, it's like me today. I couldn't sleep. You see, because I've been working till like 6 in the morning some nights. I've not worked since Monday morning there, right? That was when I last finished. So I was off Monday, off Tuesday, and then today, last night I couldn't sleep until 5 a.m. I woke up today, had my dinner, was ready to start this stream, and then I went to the shop, came back, and fell asleep, and ended up missing the start of the stream. That was why I was delayed, and again, it's because my sleeping pattern is so bad, and my nutrition is not great at the moment. That I'm just tired and lethargic. It's what happens. Like, see, when you work unsociable hours, it gets in the way of everything, and you struggle to sleep, and you struggle to rest, and you have no energy. That's why I need to go back to the gym. And I think I've been consuming a lot of caffeine as well. Like when I'm working, I'll drink a lot of cups of tea and things like that to keep me awake. But it's like I feel like that's a bad thing to become caffeine dependent. It's better to actually get force yourself to get a good sleeping pattern and consume the right kind of nutrition. So I'm gonna need to sort my nutrition out soon, and I think you need to do the same probably. Thanks for the bulking. Love your chin. Yeah, thanks, man. God bless you. I had full chicken breast on Monday with rice. Nice. See, that's the kind of thing I should be eating. I had bloody pancakes and bacon today. And yesterday I had a pizza and chicken wings. I've just been eating junk. I should be eating like healthy food. When I get back to the gym, I definitely will. It's pre-workout, just caffeine. Perhaps it's caffeine and a bunch of other stuff, like a bunch of random ingredients like sugar and whatnot, and whatever else they put in it. I wouldn't bother with pre-workouts perfectly. Like personally, I wouldn't bother with them. I honestly wouldn't. I would just try to get your body fat adapted. Try to cut out carbs and get your body to run on fat if you can. The era that Tony Jeffries and Floyd Mayweather competed in was the worst era in boxing. Yeah, probably was. That's why they were able to succeed. Have you ever bulked up with chicken and rice? Well, I've never actually specifically tried to bulk up. No, I have bulked up, and that's because basically when I was last year, when I was doing my like 3 sets of 5, so I was going to the gym every day, and I was doing 3 sets of 5 with barbells and adding weight. I was eating steak and like butter and eggs and things like that, like nearly every day. I was just like I would eat like two steaks and like 8 eggs or something. So I was consuming like so much protein and enough carbs to train that I ended up gaining like a couple of stone. Like you see those videos of me, you know that video where I did those squats where I squatted 105k for 5 sets of five. And then and also I did that 70k overhead press for 4 sets of five. See if you go and watch those videos, look how big I was in those. Like I was bulked up like crazy in those videos. I was starting to get fat again, but I lost a lot of weight since then because I stopped lifting and I started like being more careful with my diet. And my strength gains stalled. They actually went down significantly. So there's always like pros and cons to any sort of training routine or diet, you know. I genuinely think that George Foreman and Larry Holmes in their 40s would beat Wilder. I definitely think Larry Holmes would, and I give Foreman a good chance, yeah. The Argentinians eat a lot of horse meat and they seem to have a lot of punching power, yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at horses, horses are extremely strong, extremely fit animals, and they're always on their feet. I mean, they sleep standing up. That's how based horses are. You know, they're based. They're full of testosterone. They're tough. They're strong. They're sophisticated. So it doesn't surprise me that eating horse meat is good for you. Like maybe I should go out and buy a bunch of them Finders lasagnas. Like, do you remember there was that scandal in the UK? It was the horse meat scandal where it turned out that those microwave Finders lasagnas were apparently filled with horse meat. And I remember finding that out at the time and being like, "So what? It's like a it's a crappy like microwave lasagna. If it's got horse meat in it, that's probably a good thing. Probably be making it more nutritious." Did Triple G out jab guys bigger than him, or was he usually big? No, no. Triple G out jabbed everybody he ever fought. Like he had one of the most accurate and you know most quality jabs I've ever seen in boxing. It was very accurate and the technique was near perfect. Did he need the money? Yeah, yeah. He needed the money. Like he signed the contract and probably didn't read the whole thing properly, and it was the only way to get paid essentially. So yeah, he went through with it. Yeah, Triple G loves his beef. I don't blame him. Do you know when I was in Poland, one of the restaurants I went to, I had beef tartare. That was beautiful. It had like a boiled egg on it. It was lovely. Or a raw egg, whatever you call it. It was like beef tartare with egg. It was lovely. Yeah, he loves throwing Canelo fights. Snort a Pro Plus, brother. That will get you through a tough. Do you know it probably would. That probably would. That'd hype me right up for it. Probably. You know. That would keep me awake for days probably. Cooked chicken breast is nice and brown rice so bland it's miserable having that at work. No release from grafting hard. Yeah, that's why I was eating like a nice fried steak. Like I would fry it in butter and I would have a whole bunch of like boiled eggs with it and everything, and it was nice. Pray for you too, man. Triple G fought loads of good opponents who are bigger than him. Watch him against Murray and Jacobs. He's great at fighting bigger opponents. Yeah, he was. Triple G fought a lot of big guys. Like that's why I think he would have done well at light heavyweight if he'd have moved up there. He might have done well there. Yeah, I love steak and eggs. How do I like my steak? I like it medium rare. That's how I like my steak. Very, very tasty. I normally buy a 6-pack of eggs and make a cheese omelette. Oh, I love a cheese omelette, man. I've not had a cheese omelette in a while. I love them. And yeah, they would go nice with a steak. I remember one time I had a steak dinner and I had like half a pizza with the steak, and that was good. It was like some, was it like a mushroom pizza or pepperoni? I can't remember. It was nice though. It was one of them Marks and Spencer pizzas that they sell you. They were really nice. Guys from Dagestan, Chechnya, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan have a serious discipline and strict diet. They're different combat sports: wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, MMA. Yeah, they like their protein. They like their horse meat, from what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I have it, medium rare. Yeah, how's it going, Jamie? Good to see you. Steak, eggs, cottage cheese, as it's Torvog, or cottage cheese as it's known in the West. Yeah, that'd be nice. I sometimes have like a slice of cheese, like a slice of cheddar on my steak, and I kind of let it melt onto it. That's quite nice. Like a good old cheese and toast. That's nice, isn't it? Or an egg and soldiers. Do you guys ever had egg and soldiers when you were a kid? That was nice. I'm actually surprised how Andrew Tate gassed out after 1 minute in his boxing match since he's been training for 4 months for that fight and could have taken roids for cardio. Yeah, but Andrew Tate's 40 years old and he spent years smoking cigars and probably doing gear and all that. So he's probably just messed up his stamina. And he was never that good to begin with. So maybe he just doesn't have the genetics for fighting. Who knows? Yeah, my dad eats steak blue, which I couldn't do. Yeah, I could eat steak blue. I could eat. I just prefer the taste of medium rare. I've always enjoyed it. Could mix it up, throw in some salmon. Yum. Super high protein and tasty when cooked right. Yeah, I've got smoked salmon in the fridge. I've got a couple of packets of smoked salmon. I might eat some of that later actually if I get peckish. That'd be quite nice. I love salmon. I'm see for my birthday this year, I'm going, I turned 32. I'm going to East Kilbride, this place called and we're going to, this restaurant there that we've not been to in ages, and they do this particular meal. It's salmon and ratatouille. It's beautiful. I had it before. It was lovely. I wanna get that again if they've got it on the menu. I loved it. I love salmon. I could eat salmon every day. Ever had Mexican carne as the steaks? Really good. I've never had that, but I would try it. I would try it. That would be lovely. It looks alive if you have it blue. Yeah. Yeah, that Mexican steak sounds pretty good. Chicken and rice only. Your gut biome needs variety. You got to mix it up for your immune system and mental health. It's better for the long term. Yeah, it's good to eat a nice balanced diet where you have different things. You don't want to eat the same thing every day. You want to try something different. And there's nothing wrong with having the odd takeaway. You can don't do a Johnny Fisher and have a Chinese every day. The chicken chow mein. You don't want to be like a gluttonous pig, but at least mix it up. Have something nice every day. Something different. Something that just keeps it interesting. You don't have to be so obsessed with your diet. It's amazing how many men are spiritually cooked now. On X, you'll see guys defending Margot Robbie, flirting with male co-stars and disrespecting husband and call anyone who mate, who gives a shit what a bunch of idiot like cuck simp bot trolls on the internet say about celebrities or whatever? Like, who cares, honestly? Like, yeah, so many men are cooked. Like, there's nothing we can do about that. Horses have been known to kill lions. Well, yeah, if a horse kicked if it kicked a lion in the head, it would knock it out cold. Let's be honest. You know, Horses are very, very strong. Have you ever felt a horse? Have you ever put your hand on one? They're solid. It's like touching a brick wall, but like a soft brick wall, if that makes sense. Like they're so strong, it's crazy. They're very healthy. Yeah, I just got to Tesco, get some Finders lasagnas. Horse meat is the national meat of Kazakhstan, and we know that they're like, yeah, bunch of triple Bs. I mean, a bunch of triple Gs with their horse meat. I bet Triple G would like a Finders lasagna. Stick one in the microwave if he comes over. Let him try it. Finders lasagna. Canelo shops at Tesco. Does he? Does he actually? Doesn't surprise me because he'll get his roids, won't he? In the meat, in the Mexican steak. You can buy horse meat in the UK, but it's very expensive. I'd like to try it. Yeah, I'd like to try it as well. I'd love to try that. Again, what harm will it do? It's good for you. Yeah, horses and wolves are the most based animals. Yeah. To be fair, all animals are pretty based when you think about it. But yeah, horses in particular. It's crazy how people say Holmes Ali had the best jab, but they were just bigger than everyone. In that case, Triple G's superior since he outjabbed bigger dudes. Well, was Ali ever able to outjab taller world class boxers? Was he? Not from what I can remember. I want to go to Alaska and try elk. Yeah, go hunting for elk. That'd be good. I'd like to do that. I eat like shit. I have pizza pockets and ice cream whenever I train boxing. I feel tired, can't get into it. Yeah. Yesterday I had a pizza and chicken wings. It was quite nice though. I quite enjoyed it. Salt meat. Oh, seal meat is big in Canada. Do you know? I can imagine that would be nice. I can imagine it would for some reason because it'd be nice and fatty, wouldn't it? Because of all the blubber. That would be nice. In Fallout London, there's horse meat and texture for its fake Tesco packaging. That's quite funny, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I fry my steak and baste it with butter, then use the butter in the pan for some fried eggs, lovely dinner or bread. Yeah, I love that too. I do that quite a lot. I love frying things in butter. It just adds to the taste. It's lovely, man. I'm not a fan of a well done steak. Like, don't get me wrong, I could eat a well done steak, but I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of it. Yeah, like it would ruin the taste, like, and just make it like charcoal. You know, butter, eggs equals cholesterol. Be careful, don't fall for the carnivore alpha male. Mate, who do you who do you think you're talking to? Do you think I'm the type of person to fall for any bullshit diet trend? Mate, I've spoken out against those idiots many times. You know, those guys who are like, you're mentally ill if you eat a piece of toast or something, or like, if you eat plants, like if you eat salad with your dinner, you're a cook and all that. Look, mate, trust me, I am not the type of person to fall for that kind of propaganda. I mean, I've said on this very, very stream, you got to have a balanced diet and keep it up. You got to eat something different each day, because otherwise it'll just be boring and you'll just depress yourself, like, and you'll end up like guilty every time you eat a chocolate bar or something. I'm not that obsessed with diet, and the people that are like these quote unquote, like, these carnivores and vegans and fruitarians and all these whatever-tarians, these random diet cults are just idiot autists on the internet who listen to their gurus and believe everything they say. I'm not going to fall for that. Trust me. There's nothing wrong with having a healthy, balanced diet. I just happen to like protein. I happen to like butter and meat. It's just what I like. It's my favorite food. Fish in particular is my favorite food. I really like trout. That's my favorite food. Steak is putting stickers on a Ferrari. Well done steak is putting stickers on a Ferrari. Guys, is this horse meat a euphemism for PEDs? Or are we all being serious? No, we are being serious. We are being serious. Horse meat is good for you, from what I've heard. And again, Triple G used to eat it. He grew up eating it. Yeah, my nan used to make egg and soldiers. I love egg and soldiers. Like, you get the little strips of toast and you dip them in the egg, and like little yolky egg in the cup of it. Oh, it's so nice, man. I love it. Yeah. Why did we only consume egg and soldiers as children? I've had it as an adult several times, actually, as well. Egg and soldiers as a kid was elite. Probably not had it in 20 years. God, I'm old. Yeah, man, you should have it. Like, I remember my missus made it not too long ago. It was really nice. I love egg and soldiers. That's like a proper nostalgic meal, isn't it? Trump eats KFC and McDonald's. Yeah, he probably eats there like occasionally. I doubt he eats there regularly. It's probably just an occasional thing. Yeah, salmon is amazing. And again, I've got smoked salmon in the fridge. In fact, I might get some out. One sec. All right, let me stick the camera on. So I've got that, some smoked salmons here. And again, it's just like fresh British smoked salmon. There's nothing else to it. So I'll probably be eating that later. Got a carton of apple juice and all. I was in my local grocery store getting those. Where's that cup? Oh, what have I done with that cup? Yeah, I'm thirsty all of a sudden, so I'm gonna pour myself a pineapple juice. I've got Iron Brew in the fridge as well, of course, but I'll open that later probably. There we are. See, a healthy, balanced diet. I've got pineapple juice. I've got salmon. I've got all sorts. I've got bacon. Ah. Oh, that's nice. Jake Paul would knock Andrew Tate out in the first round, and all the bro chads would question the meaning of life afterwards. Well, again, you have to imagine those guys are going through they're going through a lot of like confusion right now, because Andrew Tate for the past like 5 years has talked about how he's the ultimate alpha, how losing is not an option. Like, if you lose, you might as well die. You know, how everybody's gotta get fit and learn how to whoop a man's ass, and, if you can't fight, if you're not in, like, the best shape of your life, you're a wagey, and, you're a loser, everybody's got to have a Bugatti, everybody should be a millionaire, and the Matrix is after me, that, like, he's been portraying himself the ultimate alpha male, the ultimate winner, practically invincible, practically unbeatable, and then to see him get smashed by a guy who's not even like a competitive fighter, a random misfits fighter who would lose to like your average tough guy in your local bar in a bare knuckle fight. To see Andrew Tate get smashed by a guy like that, what does that tell you about? Again, what does it tell you about the narrative that he's been pushing about him being this alpha male? Clearly, it's bollocks, right? Clearly, it's complete nonsense. So I don't know, man. It's like you got to imagine these guys are really struggling with the aftermath of that. Again, they're questioning the meaning of life. They're questioning everything they've ever been taught. Your cheat meal after the gym. Do you know what I would consider a cheat meal is like a massive bowl of pasta, cheese, and tuna. You get like pasta, just smother it in cheese, and then like open like 2 tins of tuna, and just absolutely stuff your face. That's for me a cheat meal after the gym, something like that. Looks like the health administrator is is doing her job. Yeah, yeah, she is doing her job, promoting KFC and McDonald's diet. Surprised Tate didn't claim the bum who beat him was a Matrix agent. Yeah, 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 it was Agent Smith in disguise. But that if he was truly escaping the Matrix, if he should have won anyway, innit? I've been told by a vegetarian at work I should try a McPlant. At the thought of it sounds unappealing. McDonald's is overrated anyway. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a fan of McDonald's. Like McDonald's food is trash. I really don't like it. I prefer Burger King or KFC. They're a lot better. Salmon is great due to it not requiring seasoning and tasting good with simply being put in the air fryer or hob. It reheats terribly though. Pops in the microwave badly. Tastes like rubber reheated. Yeah, that's why it's better to eat fresh. But I suppose everything's better to eat fresh, but particularly something like salmon. And like you say, it can be seasoned, but it doesn't need to be because it's like nice and oily and it tastes sweet. Salmon actually does taste sweet. Moose kick so hard they break their own legs when they kick. Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I accidentally said triple B when I meant triple G. Have you ever tried swordfish? As had it abroad. It's like the steak of the sea. I've never seen it for sale in the UK. It's really good. I've never tried it, but it's on my to-do list. Like I've heard it's really, really nice, and I would really like to try it. Really would like to try it. Um, Trump eats kids on Epstein Island. They certainly sleep with kids, don't they, on that island? Who knows? Maybe they eat them too. Who knows? Piers Morgan defended the Spanish gibberish Super Bowl. Well, of course he did because he wants his paella and his curry, so he'll support anything foreign, won't he? I see Latin Americans buy chicken feet at the store. They use it for stock. Yeah, that'd be quite nice. Do you know what my missus made? I forgot. Did I tell you guys this? She made me borscht. When we came back from Poland, because we had borscht twice while we were in Poland. We went to this Ukrainian restaurant and this old borscht, and my missus actually made it. It was really nice. I took a photo of it, but it's on my phone. I don't think I put it on my computer. Where is that phone? I'll see if I can get it up. My phone's actually broken, but I'll see if I can. You might still be able to see it. Wait there, because it was banging. Like the way she made it, it actually looked like it was like the kind of thing you'd get in a restaurant. Like my missus is a really good cook, by the way. Like to give her due, she cooks really well. Um, where is it? So I know you can't see very well because of the fact you can barely see anything actually because of the bloody crack on my phone screen. But see that? That's a bowl of borscht that she made me. Well, she made us, and it was like she had like red cabbage and pork and everything. Oh, it was beautiful. It was banging. Yeah, it was really nice. She should make that again. Alright, where was I? Um, did your court case with the football player? No, no, it's not. I've not been to court yet. I probably will at some point, but it's not happened yet. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. I'm seeing a lot of British people expatting to Thailand and Indonesia for a better life. Well, I've never been to either of those countries, so I don't know what those countries would be like to live in. My mate went to Thailand last year and he really enjoyed it, but I don't know if he'd want to live there. You know, it doesn't sound like my kind of place. It seemed like it'd be a bit too hot and a bit too like busy for my liking. You know, I might be cooked then. I even steam my broccoli and green beans in butter. Yeah, I love butter, man. Butter just goes nicely with everything, doesn't it? It's really nice. Traitors to the British island if they complain about immigration. Not necessarily, because they're just escaping from it, aren't they? You know, there's nothing wrong with a good salad, and on the same day, some ribs or greasy burger later on. Yeah, exactly. Like again, I eat a lot of meat, as you guys know, but I'll eat salad. You know, I like salad too. Do you know eating animal ball increases testosterone? Do you know? I don't think that's even true. I know you can refine and extract testosterone from animal balls, but I don't think it really increases your testosterone much at all. Because ironically enough, you don't develop testosterone by consuming testosterone. You develop testosterone naturally from your own balls. So any testosterone that you actually consume is not going to last long and it's not going to make much of a difference, you know? Yeah, I remember that. I remember there was a video of George Foreman eating Big Macs as well. I remember that, or a photo of him eating them. Yeah, smoked salmon in a sandwich is really nice. It's beautiful. Yeah, the salmon probably caught a few kilometers away. It probably was, because again, it's I live in Scotland, so they're probably saying that I should probably put that back in the fridge. 1 minute. Yeah, I put it back in the fridge because I'll probably eat it later, and I don't want it to go off. Like, no doubt, smoked salmon and toasted bagel with cream cheese. Yeah, that's nice too. Yeah, yeah, that'll be a lovely wee like breakfast, won't it? I've got my last pancake because there was like four of them in the packet. I only ate three, so I'll eat my last one now. And Floyd Go Gayweather obviously eats at McDonald's because they're like feeding child killers. Yeah, I mean, do you know what's the most blackpilling thing about the whole Epstein revelations? Is the fact that we wouldn't have heard about it if the government didn't want us to know. You know, if they didn't want us talking about it, if they didn't want the information out there, it wouldn't be. Let's be honest. So whatever they you can be guaranteed that whatever they tell us, just like with the Bohemian Grove, whatever they reveal to us about Epstein Island, it's obviously going to be a lot worse in real life. You know, my nickname in college was horse meat. Yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was. Nordic, have you seen the Iron Bruce Snowman adverts? Yes, I have. I think there's one or two. I've seen them both. Yeah, those adverts are so funny. Like, and you'll notice that the original one, the original Christmas Snowman Iron Brew advert, he actually flies all across Scotland. If you watch it, um, yeah, those are great adverts. He nicks my iron brew and lets go of my hand. That was brilliant. I found that so funny when I first seen it. Um, Tate's reputation has got even worse after the recent saga with the Kanye song. I've not seen that. I'm not sure what that is. Smoked salmon's really good. Eat 'em regular too and not too salty. I love smoked salmon. Absolutely love it. I remember when Andrew Tate was on Big Brother, got eliminated because of alleged sex tapes that came out where he displayed sadomasochistic behavior. Yeah. Yeah, the guy's a bit of a creep, isn't he, Andrew Tate? I mean, he's a pimp, so he's more than a bit of a creep. He's a complete degenerate, you know? Tate was finally exposed last year, just another fake tough guy who'll be forgotten about. With any luck, he'll be forgotten about, yeah. Or he'll be a cautionary tale to not be like, I had Bubble and Squeak sausage egg for dinner, had the day off so pigged out. Oh man, that sounds good. Sausage and steak, lovely. Sausage and egg, I mean, lovely. Yeah, he wouldn't. Well, he's already been jailed, hasn't he? Yeah, yeah. I want to try swordfish. I want to try that. I had rabbit before, and it was very tender. You ruins it. I just finished reading that part in The Two Towers. You know where Gollum and Sam argue about how to cook a rabbit. It's even funnier in the book. Spoiling nice fish. Give it to us raw and wriggling. You eat nasty chips. Andrew Tate genuinely experienced the greatest aura loss of all time. Can't think of a bigger tough guy image being wrecked than that. All those alpha male tweets don't hit the same anymore, yeah. Didn't he say that God willed it? They said something like the way that he coped afterwards was like, me losing will inspire other people to deal with their setbacks or some bollocks like cope like that, you know. Oh yeah, Piers was with Ghislaine Maxwell in a photo. Not surprised. Yeah, is that a surprise to anybody? Mr. Tampons, you know, is that a surprise to anybody? It's not a surprise to me. One thing you know is if a grizzly bear attacks you, shove your arm all the way down its throat. You'll trigger its gag reflex and it'll buzz off. I've tried shark as well. Do you know Danny Green? He likes shark, you know, the Australian boxer. And people used to call him the Shark Slayer. Thought that was quite funny. Tuna mixed with Dutch mayonnaise. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'll just have the tuna on its own, like on crackers and toast. Yeah, that'd be lovely. I love cheese and crackers, or cheese and toast. Anybody in the chat who knows how to throw a punch would beat Andrew Tate. Del Boy would KO him in 2. Yeah, he probably would. Just when he leans back, just run in and throw a punch. Genuinely surprised by how many people have an aversion to seafood. Yeah, I've never got that because I absolutely love seafood. It's beautiful. And it's so good for you as well. Like seafood, it's full of protein. It's just so good for your mind. Like it's good for your brain. Everything. It's beautiful. Lion testicle made a YouTuber throw up everywhere. I mean, why would you eat testicle? I mean, come on, that's gay shit, man. Eating testicles, I just wouldn't do it. Here in the south, crawfish is popular, but I don't like it. Inconvenient to peel, yeah, because there's not a lot of meat in crawfish. Like it's nice, but there's not a lot of meat in it. It would take ages to prepare. I need to buy a rice cooker. It would make life easier. I normally just boil my rice. I know it takes a bit longer, but it's easy enough, you know. I don't know if this is true, but Norman Finkelstein got an offer and refused it. Yeah. What about Danny Finkelstein? The snowman was so beautiful, never going there again. The new diverse world, too white. Amazing what beauty were lost due to liberalism. Yeah, can you believe that was on Channel 4 as well? You never have thought it. You know, the absolute degenerate channel. Do you know what I've been looking into recently? Do you know there's that comedian? I say comedian in quotations, and it's this stupid, like, deaf lesbian woman, and she looks like the mouth of Sauron. Like, seriously, like, go look this woman up. Like, she actually legit looks like the mouth of Sauron. I'm not even kidding. But she doesn't even tell jokes. She just stands there and goes, you're making jokes on the stage. That's literally that's how she talks, and you can barely understand the words she's saying. She literally doesn't tell jokes. She just stands there like rambling, and it takes her like 5 minutes to string a sentence together, and the crowd just pretends to laugh. And they keep like promoting her, and again, it's a similar situation like what I was talking about earlier with the health secretaries, right? It's a job that isn't real, but they appoint somebody who's like a meme figure with the intention of creating memes just to wind people up. And that's the same thing that they sometimes do with comedy, you know? Like, as if it wasn't bad enough that she's a woman, you know? Women, it's just impossible for them to be funny, you know? Epstein was a fixer. I think the blackmail angle is greatly overplayed. Yeah, it is, but again, that's like I was saying, whatever was going on with Epstein, we know it's a lot worse than the media are gonna tell us, and we're never gonna hear about that. We're only gonna hear about what they want us to know, what they want us to talk about, and who it's safe to criticize. You know, it's like, you know, when Corey Feldman came out and he was like, "I'm gonna expose Hollywood. I'm gonna name all the names," but he didn't name anybody of consequence. You know, he talked about bloody Charlie Sheen, who everybody already knew was a nonce and nobody cared. And then he also talked about like a bunch of random guys who were like my local driver, and you know, people nobody cares about and nobody's heard of, but people are expecting him to expose like Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks and all these other occultists. He never exposed anybody. It's like it's the same thing with Epstein. Oh, this random comedian from the 1970s is on the Epstein flight list. You've never heard of him. I've never heard of him, but he's on there. And it's like, who cares? Like what relevance does that have to anything? It's of no consequence whatsoever. Nothing in the whole Epstein situation is of any consequence. They just hide everything that is. Ryan Garcia, his talent is insane. He just wants to be a TikTok YouTube star instead. Never rated him personally. I never rated Ryan Garcia. Hiya, yeah, how's it going, Daz? Hope we're good. I finish work tomorrow. I get a significant settlement that I can live on for about 7 months. Good for you, man. That's lucky. That's lucky, man. I like it. Enjoy your time off then, I guess. Illuminati never sacrifice their real nasty members. No, they don't. They only throw certain people under the bus who they no longer need, you know. Lefties are treating Tommy Robinson's involvement in the files as some own, always several years behind the like with Israel. Yo, everyone knows Tommy Robinson has ties to Israel, as does Jeffrey Epstein. So it's not a surprise, or it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, you know. You know, you should try pheasant as well. Really good when prepared right. Oh, I'd love to try pheasant. Again, I've heard good things about pheasant. I would love to try it. That would be good. As well as swordfish. Funny story I heard recently was the whole countryside is too white thing. Hands up who met a black farmer or a black owner of a country pub. Yeah, I've never met one. It's like when they say gamers are too white. I mean, have you ever met a black woman who plays video games? Because I haven't. Um, I think I might sacrifice Tommy to trigger the civil war. Yeah. Imagine that. Wouldn't be the worst thing. Shrimp, prawns are superior to crayfish, crawfish in every way. Yeah, there's probably a lot more meat on them. I love black pudding. Black pudding is beautiful. I eat black pudding quite a bit. Normal Finkelstein thankfully refused Epstein Island. Idiots think the whole group of people are bad. Have you seen that chav in a hijab that's do you know, I think I did see that one. I think I did. I'd forgotten the name, though. I've forgotten the name. Um, a lot of comedians are just boring. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are. Like, a lot of them, I hesitate to even call them comedians. Like, I hesitate to even call them that. They're literally just activists, a lot of them. You know, activists who, go on stage and talk, "Oh, the right-wing people, am I right?" And then the crowd goes, "Yes, yes, the right-wing people, yes, the right-wing people are right. Oh, and by the way, I'm gay. I take it up the arse. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, what about those right-wing conservatives with their flags and their fish and chips? They're so bad, aren't they? They colonized my ancestors and I hate them." And you can just see them seething on stage and getting all wound up and that. That's honestly what like modern comedy is like, isn't it? Back in a sec, I'm just going to toilet. All right, here we are. Here we are. Where was I? Well, I've got a lot of comments. I like Ricky Gervais and his roasting at the Golden Globes. Do you know that was funny? It was. Like, I really did enjoy it, but at the same time, it's k- it's kind of annoying how scripted it was. Like it was obvious that Hollywood allowed that to happen. Because he didn't really reveal anything or expose anybody, did he? He didn't like name any names. So I don't know, man. But like, it was funny. I must admit, it was. It was kind of a funny roast because you could see just the look on their faces was kind of priceless. It was the look on their faces that made it more entertaining to me. Um, why they want us to know anything? Well, because it's gatekeeping. It's bread and circus. If they let you know certain things, they can keep you distracted, keep you scared, keep the mystery and mystique around the whole satanic elite and what they're really up to, and just not let you know anything and anything of consequence. That's how it is, you know. That's how it is. All right, what was I? Um, I literally think of Boromir death so much it hits too close to home and makes me want to see less sin overcome by demons. Um, to think libtards also read Lord of the Rings and think mud diversity, elves slash hobbits. Yeah, yeah. But mate, I've seen that before, and I've talked about that before about how broad the appeal of Tolkien's work is. Like, you have people who are like hardcore Richard Dawkins following atheists who also read Lord of the Rings and think it's some sort of communist allegory. When Tolkien explicitly stated otherwise. He explicitly stated it was a Catholic work promoting the Catholic monarchy, and it was an allegory for the Trinity and whatnot. Load of nonsense. But yeah, Boromir's death is a really sad situation, and it's really sad in the book as well. Like if you've ever read the book, it kind of happens off screen, and the characters find him like lying there with arrows in him, with a whole bunch of dead Urukai, and his only concern at that point is saving the hobbits. He's clinging on to life just to make sure that somebody knows where they are and can go after them, and it's quite sad. So he dies with honor in the end, keeps a hold of his honor. And he plays more of a predominant role in the books even after his death. He's talked about a lot in the second book as well when they meet his brother and whatnot. Let's play bingo this week. Who's this week's Tory defector to Deform UK? Will Deform, while Deform defends into civil war, it will be back to the Tories. Of course it will. It always leads back to the Tories. It always leads back to the stupid two-party system, you know? Pam Bommy Doge, whoever that is, claimed they have tens of thousands of CP footage from Epstein, but it's all downloaded off the internet and he didn't record any of it. Yeah. There will be no civil war as long as Uber Eats exist and normies will be obese and pacified by GayFC and McDick. Yeah, shout out to Apology. Good to see you, man. God bless you. Which is idiotic considering Epstein had all that recording footage and software, yeah. Because again, I thought the whole idea was he was blackmailing people with footage of them doing things with kids. I don't know, man. Modern comedy isn't even funny, with a few exceptions. Jimmy Carr still makes me laugh. I never found Jimmy Carr funny, personally. He's too milquetoast for me. Ramesh Ranganathan is the most forced comedian in the UK. Yeah, he looks like Kugan Cassius, that guy. And he kind of sounds like him as well. And yeah, he's. I've never heard that guy say anything even remotely funny. Not one thing. Secondly, the profile pic. Thirdly, just finished midweek church service. We're studying Proverbs 17. Good. I like it. I like to hear it, man. God bless you. I need to get back to church myself because I've been working so many nights. I've not had the time, but hopefully I can get a Sunday off sometime soon so I can go to a proper church service. Breaking news, they found a stash of tampons and everything. The suspect is a fat boomer. Yeah, I guess we know Piers has been there then, eh? Never become one flesh with a godless woman. Absolutely, I agree. I agree. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Yeah, yeah, it's probably the best moment in all 3 movies. He's like, "What's taters, precious? What's taters, eh?" He's like, "Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew." Brilliant. Dawkins worship is religion, surely. Yeah, 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 exactly. Dawkins is the high priest of the Church of Atheism. They absolutely love that guy. Yeah, Boromir was a noble warrior. He was a flawed human, but a great man, a noble warrior. For Frodo is one of the most epic moments in cinema history. Yeah, it is absolutely. Like he's like charging to certain death just to give Frodo enough time to destroy the ring. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's beautiful. Apparently, Epstein was tight with the Israeli Minister of Defense and introduced him to Peter Thiel of Palantir. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And isn't he Thingy's uncle, Vance or whatever his name is? It's also tiring, isn't it? It's like a rabbit hole you just never get out of. There's no point in it. Dawkins tweeted he missed church bells after Muslims took over certain areas. I believe even he said he wanted Christianity as a main religion. Well, then he shouldn't have spent 40 years attacking Christianity, should he? Like a retard. But again, Richard Dawkins is another retard and a satanic piece of crap. So he can reap what he sows, as far as I'm concerned. That's what he can do. I tried to watch Russell Brand's alleged comedy once, had migraines. One comedian made me laugh. Is that Dan Stanhope? Genuinely funny. I've never heard of him. Might look him up though. Never heard of him. What's your views on Scientology? It's a stupid cult of celebrities that make themselves tax exempt. It's daft. It's ridiculous. Thoughts on ICE destroying Renee and who's Renee and Alex? I don't know who that is. Is that Georgina Floyd? Is that stupid liberal bitch who got shot? Is that who that is? If so, then ICE did a good job. Well done. Well done, ICE. Dawkins should be raging about himself, attacking Christianity and trying to turn people away from it. All these liberal mongrels were crushed by ICE. Good. Like, look. The only good liberal is a dead liberal. That's a good thing. I think every single liberal should charge at ICE and say, "I'm going to murder you." Like they should say that audibly and put their hands in their pocket, just to give ICE every opportunity and every excuse possible to shoot them. And then the world would be a better place. All the liberals should do that. Those boxy delivery bags, those drivers are kept in the worst condition, just left on the door with rats going inside. Prawn crackers tasted like unwashed back. Yeah, that's disgusting. Yeah, I hate ordering takeaways for that very reason. They leave it outside the door and it ends up getting stolen, or the delivery guy steals it themselves. I think I mentioned to you a while ago, I found a really good black guy Christian debate, but I lost it. Oh, that's fine. We'll probably find it again, possibly. Yeah, yeah. England needs ICE. England needs armed border control, kind of like what they have in Poland. Just border control on every dock and every airport. Don't let any riffraff in. It's that simple. I've never met a match than when Hulk Hogan tried to join Scientology. Could you imagine that? Can you imagine Hulk Hogan in Scientology? Jihad by charging at ice truck. Yeah, go ahead, charge at ice trucks and leave yourself wide open. Do it. All. I'm talking to all the liberals here. Every liberal who hates ICE should charge at them and shout. No, I've still not watched it. I'm definitely going to though. I'm definitely going to. I've just had no time lately, but I'm definitely going to. The word liberal used to mean something else. Modern libtards are some of the most illiberal bigots you'll ever meet. Yeah, they are. They're the very definition of the term bigot because they can't handle a difference of opinion. But again, they're basically just conformists who do exactly what the government and media tells them. They're conformists. They have no real opinion of their own. After a year, I found it. It's Elijah Johnson I'll type that in, Elijah Johnson apologetics, and I'll watch it. Elijah Johnson I'm typing it in now, so I don't forget. Right. Shut up, advert. But yeah, there's the channel anyway. All right, I got the channel. So yeah, Elijah Johnson apologetics. I checked that out. Um, some black guy said the multicultural death is a punishment from God. Could be. Have you seen Devin versus yeah, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman? Yeah. Boring fight, load of crap. Brian Norman was probably compromised through um weaponized drug testing. He had no chin. First like clean punch he took, he went down. He barely threw a punch, he barely landed a punch. Complete joke of a fight. I think it was probably just a setup. Boring fight in my opinion. Everyone is hyping up these TV series based on Game of Thrones. Can't remember the name. They claim it's wholesome, traditional, non-political. Mate, every single TV show is leftist propaganda. Literally everyone. They don't get financed if they're not leftist propaganda. Leftists have proven how vulnerable they are to propaganda. Just look at that Ice Kid with the Lilo and Stitch hat and so many lies surrounding him. Some believe he was at the Super Bowl HT show, yeah. They'll just believe anything, wouldn't they? Liberals are the most racist and bigoted. Look how they treat black ice workers. They call them the CNN word. Yeah, they do, exactly. But again, we're the racist ones, but the liberals are the one literally going and calling people N-words to their face. Like, come on, man. Just because they don't conform. Like, see, they would prefer the blacks were out looting and doing crack and all that rather than actually having a job and keeping their community safe, you know? That would be being a good black person and not a C word, you know, in their mind. An interesting thought that occurred to me last week: if Starmer goes, we get 3 months of David Lammy as interim prime minister. Will be a scream. Imagine that. Won't make a difference, in my opinion. They're all as bad as each other. Liberals are stupid. They stuck up for criminals when these libtards getting a taste of the mess they put onto everything else. Yeah. WDYM by compromised drug test. Yeah, that's what happened to Haney. He got. I mean, that's what happened to Norman. He was clearly weakened by Victor Conte's weaponized drug testing. Haney could take whatever he wants. His opponent gets drained, and if Haney loses, they just overturn the result. You know, it's just what happens. George Floyd is more virtuous than an ICE agent. More virtuous than an ICE agent. Yeah, sure. Enio Aluko thing on no, on Talkspot, never heard of it, sorry. I saw a white lady or a tranny, couldn't tell, call some black guy a house N-word, yeah. Yeah, they say it all the time when it's the right kind of black guy, you know? Liberals want every single European ethnic group to vanish by being swallowed by infinity foreigners. Erased from media. That's not racist because of my definitions. Well, like I said, every single liberal should charge at the ICE agents and get shot. Then the world will be a better place. Like it will be so much better for society if that happens. Again, the only good liberals are dead liberal. Don't matter who's in charge, as the saying goes, same shit, different also. Yeah, exactly. Nothing ever changes, does it? We always get the same politics. Nothing ever changes. Liberalism is based on rage and anger multiplied by projection. Look at the snarling faces, lack of self-control. But again, what are they angry at exactly? They're just being told to act a certain way by the media, and they do everything they're told. They're just NPCs. That's what they are. They don't have any opinions of their own. They're all NPCs. Have liberals been attacked by the migrants? I reckon they will say ICE. They will ICE save be by jihad. I don't know, man. I don't care. And I'm past caring about liberals and their lives. Their lives are worthless. They're not human. They're NPCs. I don't care. To me, they're no better than orcs. Liberals are just orcs, as far as I'm concerned. Back to the abyss with them, where they belong. Don't care one bit. Um, I suggested a channel. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that channel a bunch of times. I've watched Richard the Fourth. I've been watching him actually lately. Very, very good channel. I'd recommend Richard the Fourth. Check that channel out, anybody. Very good channel. Makes a lot of sense too. Um, Dana White's rant on Victor Conte is one of his best. Yeah, yeah. He points out Victor Conte being a snitch and being a hypocrite and all that. That was good. Yeah, yeah. Me too. Me too. ICE is doing good jihad. Yeah, they are. But you know the centrist grifters will be like, they are fascists. No, no, it's my fascism, my freedom, and my democracy. No, it's called self-defense, you retard. If you charge at somebody and tell them, I am going to stab you to death, and then that person shoots you, guess what? That's called self-defense, and there's nothing wrong with it. So big up ICE. I think they're doing a great job, but I think they should do a better job. Like, see, whenever ICE gets surrounded by liberals, get your machine gun, turn the safety off, point it at them, and say, "You've got 5 seconds to disperse, or you're all dead, or I'll just start shooting into the crowd." And then if they don't do it, if they still stand there and go, "You're a fascist! I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna murder you!" Then okay. Just gun them all down. Simple. What, you think they're just going to stand there? No, they're going to run away. And then make sure make sure you don't miss a single one of them, right? Because everybody in that crowd is a liberal, right? So not a single human being is anywhere in that crowd. Gun them all down. Brilliant. And I wish ICE were more trigger happy than they are, you know. I just had this thought the other day: atheists and liberals aren't having kids or having abortions, while Christians are or want to. Like the Bible says, the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, yeah, that's the only good thing about abortion, is it stops liberals from breeding. That's the only good thing about it. Christians should be the only people to breed because we're the only people of worth. You know, I mean, it is what it is. We're the only people who understand morality and ethics in any substantial way. You know, I've never seen that. No. ICE actual deportation numbers are too low, though. It needs to be double or triple, yeah. But right now, I mean, again, they're deporting some people, but right now, I'll settle for them just shooting liberals in self-defense. That's a good thing. The more, the better. How much weight do you normally lift in kg? You usually iron, but see, I've not. When I go to the gym, I use a barbell. Whatever plates are in the gym, I use them. And I try to do 3 sets of 5 to whatever weight I can handle on the day. If I can add more, I will. I think liberals should be deported with the migrants. It's easier to just shoot them. It's easier, you know. It's easier to just bait them into attacking you and then shoot them in self-defense. That's a lot easier. And then just burn the bodies, you know. Why not? Because if you migrate them, they might come back. So if you shoot them, they won't come back, will they? The big difference between old school liberalism promotes merit, new liberalism hates the idea of individual. Well, I mean, see, this is a problem because where did modern liberalism come from? It came from old school liberalism. I mean, liberalism is all about change. It's all about progression. It doesn't stop. You can't have a form of liberalism that doesn't turn into something else. Like liberalism in general just should never have been a concept. It should never have existed. You know, it was never necessary. Most advanced nations were Christian or formerly Christian. All advanced nations in history were Christian. Some of them just got colonized by Islam. You know, the Japanese and Korean have done well for themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of Christians in ancient Japan and ancient Korea. You know, I've changed my mind about a lot. Used to consider myself an old school classic liberal. Probably new liberalism made me reconsider. Yeah, because you saw what it turned into. Liberalism became modern liberalism, as it was always going to. It's inevitable, you know. It's a flawed concept. Me and some Christians were talking on Discord when some macroevolution supporter joined. He started spurging and screaming. Reminded me a lot of Parker and Dean Withers. Yeah, I haven't really looked into that personally, so I don't know. Liberalism came from SJWism. That actually came from Protestants and their shame game. Yeah, all goes back to that, doesn't it? We now see what liberalism has taken to its logical conclusion. Well, of course, because again, liberalism is also known as progression. What is progression? It's change. It's things. What is conservatism? Conservatism at its core is things staying the same, things not changing. Right? It's you're conserving culture. In a political context, it's you're conserving the moral law, which comes from Christianity. All right, the Ten Commandments. Okay, you're conserving our Christian way of life, our Christian morals, our Christian culture, our Christian sensibilities. Right? Once you inject liberalism in any form, all you're going to get is a downward spiral. That's literally it. It was never going to go anywhere but bad, right? Liberalism is literally just one form of Marxism. That's all it was, you know. It's progression, which doesn't stop progressing, even to its detriment. You know, I think I've just learned something for you here. You're saying that ideology with no respect for tradition will go down the wrong road, however quickly or slowly. Yeah, of course. And listen, any ideology that is not 100% conservative Christian is going to be bad always. Because once you take scripture, once you take the word of God out of it, you end up with a human concept, and human beings are inherently flawed. You know, here's what it is. You can't trust in your own wisdom. Trust in the word of God. That's all there is. Yes, I follow Inspiring Philosophy. I've watched a lot of his stuff. Tries to make the case that the old Earth doesn't contradict the Bible, and the Earth can be older than 6,000 years. Well, again, it's all pedantic because none of us know, nor should any of us know how old the Earth is. All right, all we know is what it tells us in Scripture and what we can learn from archaeology. And you can never determine the age of the Earth through archaeology. It's not possible. Otherwise, it would have been done by now. So it's a pointless argument, in my opinion. Can ICE come to England and deal with Mohammed Hijab? Hey, we can dream, eh? We could dream. I felt sorry for the dog in the backseat of Renee's car. Yeah, it's sort of sad for the dog. What's she doing bringing the dog to an ICE protest anyway? Now, again, that Renee was a child abuser anyway. She abused her children and had them taken off her. Her children actually got taken custody from her because her and her lesbian partner abused them. Typical liberal. Again, only good liberal is a dead liberal. Like I've said, you know, just exterminate them. Who cares? They're not human. They're NPCs. Every nation that has abandoned Christianity is failing. Yep, absolutely. Once Christianity goes, society crumbles. History has proven this definitively. You know, the likes of Locke and J.S. Mill lived in a time when we had Christian culture and respect for tradition. Perhaps they would have looked back their works differently. Yeah, they would completely see what a failure these ideologies ended up being. You know, liberalism can work in a settled culture and homogenous population. If taken to its absolute, it will erode both of them. Yeah, exactly. How much could I super chat you to react to a 6-minute Deontay Wilder interview? I don't know. Give us a quote. How much would you? You want me to react to it? You want me to make a video? Is that what you want? Do you want me to make a video about it? I will if you want. You want me to make a video about Deontay Wilder being brain damaged and just react to what he says in the video? Yeah, I'll do it for a tenner. $10. I'll do that video. How about that? We'll see. Obviously I'll need to wait until I what am I saying? I'll need to wait till I've got all my stuff to do it, but I will. Oh, I'm gonna cough, man. But yeah, I'll do it for a tenner. I've noticed the chosen people don't mind making a mockery. Oh, you mean watch it on stream? Yeah, and then react to it. Oh, okay, fiver then. I've noticed the chosen people don't mind make money making of them being insulted. Well, people insulting them saying they've got big noses and they like money. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Can diversity exist in any way, like different people, but all adopt Christianity? It can, yes, but you're always going to have clashing cultures, no matter what. That's always going to happen. That's always going to be an issue. This is why it's just theoretically it's better for a homogenous society, but that just doesn't happen, does it? You know. Oh, why am I so tired? I've been tired all day, man. It's doing my head in. Curtis Doolittle is correct. Liberalism and its cousin libertarianism are both parasites. Oh, libertarianism is just stupid. Again, I've said this before. Libertarians are literally just special ed. Like as far as political ideologies are concerned, they're like the special ed kids who ride the short bus, you know. One has wastes of space parasiting off the workers, others are merchants parasiting off the economy. Yeah. Liberal atheism is inherently without objective morality, so it always degrades society in the long run, leads to hedonism and nihilism. Yeah. People want to watch Nordics suffer. If it's not a Wilder video, it's Johnny Nelson fight. Yeah, again, it's like watch Devin Haney, watch Deontay Wilder, it's always like watch unwatchable crap, in it. That's what people want me to do. And this, you guys just want me to suffer. You just want me to end up with brain damage. You want me to be as brain damaged and lose as many brain cells as Wilder or James Toney by just watching absolute slop. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll do it because I'm a slut, and I'm a people pleaser, but I ain't gonna be happy about it, you know. Oh man, yeah, I think that's what people want, and people like to they like to watch people at their absolute worst, don't they? But yeah, I'm getting quite tired now, so I'll need to pick all that up in my next stream, which shouldn't be too long into the future. And oh yeah, did I tell you guys before? I've got that Chad Dawson video that I've been meaning to do forever. That's going to be coming pretty soon. Got a few things to talk about there. Yeah, that was about it. Trying to think of anything else I wanted to update before I turn this off. No, I think I've forgotten. Doesn't matter. It'll all come to me as soon as I hit end stream, but whatever. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. I know I've been a bit incoherent with this one because I've just been so tired. But yeah, until next time, thanks for watching and God bless.